Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? What? So today we are doing something new. We are simulcasting to YouTube. So if you are also following and subscribed to the Celvion YouTube channel, you will also have you will also be able to watch the live there. So both Twitch and YouTube. I would have done it for other places. I genuinely thought about trying to do it on TikTok because I think TikTok is my next second biggest is probably my second biggest platform. But you have to have 1,000 subscribers on TikTok to go live, so yeah, not exactly not exactly we're not exactly there yet. We're actually sitting at like 400 over there, 400 something. So you making store-bought fish sticks with homemade mashed potatoes and oh, that sounds good. Okay, I'm really curious. What is brown sauce to you? Because, like, I hear that and my brain's like gravy, especially if you're putting it on mashed potatoes. Like, I think we've talked about this before, but I don't think I ever actually, like, looked it up. Like, hold on. Finnish brown sauce. What is brown sauce made out of? Tomatoes, molasses, dates, apples, tamarind, spices, vinegar, and sometimes raisins. It's popular in the United Kingdom and other parts of the Commonwealth. It's British? Huh. Wait, no, 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 that's different. Yeah, no, Finnish one it is gravy. Yeah, no, so it's gravy. Okay, that makes sense. It's just like a beef gravy. Okay. Working well, though a bit behind Twitch. Ah, that's fair. I'll be honest, even with having both chats up, because I have, like I said, I have YouTube and I have Twitch up. I'm probably going to still focus more on Twitch, just simply because Twitch has more stuff on it. So kind of the idea would be to try to funnel people from YouTube towards Twitch if possible. If you want more like succinct, like better reactions to things, your best bet is to just hop on Twitch. But like I said, you'll be if you whichever one you decide to watch, you will be supporting me either way. Just know that I might be a little bit behind on chat over at Twitch. Or I mean over at YouTube. But uh yeah, and apparently it's against the rules to merge chats, so I'm actually kind of glad that I have 3 monitors right now because on either side I have I have me in the front, and then I have like I can see what I'm doing, and then I have Twitch chat on my left monitor and YouTube chat on my right monitor. So also technically I think you can watch both if you want, but Android set up. I know, right? You know, at one point, I think it'd be really fun to just get a wall of monitors, like 6 or 7, and just like die, and just have like I don't know. I just want to feel like a supervillain hacker character from like an anime or like a early 2000s like action movie where they just have tons of monitors everywhere. Honestly, kind of the way the monitors have been working so far, that honestly sounds really convenient and nice to just have a million monitors. You know what I mean? But yeah, Coco, hello. Look at me. How are you? So, but yeah, here is our big attempt at doing YouTube simulcast. Today is going to be kind of an experiment. We might switch to date everything anyway. Hi, hi. Uh, but I want to mostly focus on getting a solid hunk of I want the majority of it to be just chatting, just for the simple sake of, like I said, this is a test, and I don't want it to be confusing if you are going to go back through the VODs. Hi, Zevite, welcome in. So yeah, but yeah, this was kind of a pain to set up. But not as much of a pain as I thought it was going to be. Like, genuinely, when I was getting ready to do this, I really didn't think, all right, good night, Zyber. But yeah, when I was getting ready to do this, I really didn't think it would be, I thought it was going to be way harder. But like, apparently there's just like a plugin you would install into OBS, and then you have to get your stream key from YouTube. And yeah, like I said, it's kind of like a whole process. It's interesting. Honestly, YouTube's streaming side is super interesting. None of it worked the way I thought it would. So the Cyberpunk 2.3 update screwed up my mods. I'm sorry, Zbot. Yeah, honestly, pretty much every update in games usually breaks most mods, don't they? Like, usually you have to wait like like a couple weeks to a month for them to fix all the mods. Like before the there was a mod not that long ago that broke everything too for himself. Not mod, an update. The one with that let you put pictures in your rooms and stuff, and let you change the colors of vehicles. That one messed up a lot of mods too, if I remember right. But I will say, there's only going to be one more update for Cyberpunk from everything I've heard. Maybe two, but there's probably only like one or two more, because we're gonna get a content update for updates suck for modders. Yeah. But yeah, we're getting an update for Cyberpunk for that's gonna tie into the new season of Edgerunners, which I believe, oh, did they give it a release date for Edgerunners season 2? I'm not sure, honestly. Did they? Um uh yeah, I don't know. But but yeah, they have whenever that comes out, Cyberpunk 1, the original Cyberpunk game, is going to get an update that's going to directly tie into the plot of Edgerunners season 2. And then they will have probably one more big bug patch update to get rid of any issue that may have came up that they missed. I want them to expand in this Blue Eyes person. Oh, the Mr. Blue Eyes? Yeah. I really don't think they're gonna expand on that much, to be honest. Like, that was left as a big mystery, but I think that's gonna tie into like future games. Cause like, all we know, we know a bunch of stuff about Mr. Blue Eyes. Apparently he took a big interest into V, and if you get the ending where you are like the Legend of Night City ending, then you straight up, like, you are doing a last ditch effort before you die. You're like, your days are like, you have like days left at most to with Mr. Blue Eyes to go heist the Crystal Palace, which is a huge casino resort in space. And I really want the new the new Cyberpunk game to be in space. Like, I'm fine. I would like it if that they can keep Night City also, but like if they want to expand, I would rather go to space. Cuz like the big theories everyone has is that it's either going to be in Chicago, or it's going to be in Chicago, or it's going to be in space. It may still be in Night City, but it's going to be in one of those two places are going to be accessible for sure. And I would rather it be in space, cuz and space is one of those locations that has the next most content in the like Cyberpunk universe for it, after Night City. Because people don't remember this a lot. I feel like I remind people about it a lot, but Cyberpunk is a tabletop RPG. It's like Dungeons and Dragons. It's also a genre of media, so on top of that, but first and foremost, the Cyberpunk that you are seeing in those games, that is a tabletop RPG. It's got source books. You can go buy them at your local game store, probably. Chicago and space are two very different places. So Chicago is one of the city. Okay, so the places in the Cyberpunk universe that have the most lore pre-written about them in the source books, they are Night City, of course, Chicago, space, and Tokyo. Yeah, no, Mr. Blue Eyes is you can catch him watching you in any sort of quest line, including main quests that are important for the overall Night City. Like if it would anything that would expand to affect the rest of Night City, you can see him in the background somewhere. Some side quests, a lot of the main quests, he's just there watching. So he's doing something. And all we know about Mr. Blue Eyes is he is connected to Night Corp, the company that built Night City originally before it got bought out and blah, 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 blah. But they are one of the richest companies in Night City, but they are always the bottom rung because all of these super mega corps from other places moved in. So all we know about Mr. Blue Eyes is he works for Night Corp. That is it. Is he is with Night Corp. And that's so interesting. And I want us to elaborate on that a lot, but would be an option because Chicago, if I'm being completely honest. Well, okay, want me to tell you why we're pretty sure it's not Chicago? I mean, not Tokyo. So in the endings of Cyberpunk, there is okay, we'll start with the reason why I think it's going to be in space. The next Cyberpunk game is called Cyberpunk Project Orion. Is like Cyberpunk 2 Project Orion. So it's Project Orion is made by the studio, but it's we don't know that's the development title. In the lore of Cyberpunk, Orion is one of like the 4 or 5 space cities that are in orbit in a space station. Alongside the Crystal Palace, which is like a resort. You also have Orion, which is like I said, a whole city. And currently, the working title for Cyberpunk 2077 2, or just Cyberpunk 2, we don't know. 2077 is probably the name of the first game because it's a set year. We don't know if it's going to go forward a single year or we know it'll definitely not be in the year 2077 again because 2077 takes place across a whole year, supposedly, which is how you have time for all the side quests in the lore. Fun fact, just for you. And that also includes your backstory. And funny enough, Edge Runners actually starts in 2076, and the final scene is actually in like the very beginnings of the year 2077, like the ending of Cyberpunk Edge Runners. So that's why there's like you can still kind of find evidence of it because it's only been like a month or two. At the smallest amount of time, it's only been like a month or two. Yeah, Rebecca was the best. I really liked Rebecca. Um, but yeah, anyway, that's why I think it's going to be in space. But the reason why there's a solid chance it could be in Chicago is that that in one of the endings, just one of them, you can find news where they talk about how Night City is building a high speed, like an ultra high speed maglev train directly to Chicago. And the big thing about Chicago is it got nuked in the second American Civil War in the Cyberpunk universe. It was a wasteland. It only recently in the lore in like the 2060s was finally safe for humans to be there again and got rebuilt. That's why I think it could be in Chicago. There's a whole bunch of lore about Chicago, but That is why it could be in Chicago. It could be in a just barely recovered from being Fallout Chicago. So that to me sounds interesting because I'm thinking super gritty, industrialized, but run down, maybe either run down or like less Japanese and more like RoboCop. If you watched RoboCop, I'm expecting it to be like RoboCop or Gotham from Batman, because Batman is very frequently cyberpunk-esque also. You know what I mean? That is what I'm expecting out of a cyberpunk set in Chicago. But like I said, the only hint we have that it's going to be set in Chicago is that one of the endings, you can find a news article that says they are building this high-speed rail train that can get you between Night City and Chicago in 30 minutes. Was it 30 minutes or an hour or something like that? It's like super fast. And it's like a 1,000-mile-per-hour train. So with Chicago, if we have it set in Chicago, you should be able to go between Night City and Chicago and have both as options. But I don't think the tech is there for something as big as Night City and Chicago to both be in the same game. I feel like technology isn't quite there because Night City is big. Like, Cyberpunk itself is a gigantic game. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm thinking space, because you can potentially even have multiple cities if you go to space, but all of these, but having multiple cities wouldn't be that hard because the space in between is space. There's nothing there. In fact, actually, it would probably make more sense for you to not have vehicles to go between the space stations, because that would be too expensive. And you'd have to actually take the train between or like a train type vehicle, like a shuttle, between the multiple cities. And you could have like 2 or 3 of them and have it make sense. So you could actually have full different like cultures and stuff in different places. Like I said, if you wanted like a different entirely different vibe, you know what I mean? That's why I'm hoping it's space. But it is probably way too early to even like to even like question what it could be. But Ryan had Chicago, but I think the size of the game would be double 2077. Like, you see but you get what I'm saying though. I like you said, if it's set in Chicago, it would have to be twice the size of Night City, if not more, because well, I guess Chicago got nuked. So I guess it could be that Chicago is like Chicago probably is much smaller than it is in real life. Because like if it got nuked off the map to the point people had to take decades away from living there, then I think that's probably a good sign that it's probably like gonna have a smaller city than actual Chicago. Right? Think that's a fair assumption. Probably. But anyway, but also the other reason why I do think that it being set in Chicago would be kind of cool, because like I said, RoboCop is in Detroit. That's right next to it. Like, so like I'm expecting like RoboCop vibes if it actually did go to Chicago. Bites with Phantom. Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I have a feeling that I just don't think technology is quite there yet for a game as big as double Cyberpunk. Even if there is a sizable loading screen between the two, because, you know, Cyberpunk is seamless. You can go everywhere with very, like, next to no loading screens. Like, I can drive from one end of the map to the other and have no problems. I only have loading screens sometimes when I enter buildings. Really? Remember the RoboCop on the new? Hi, Nade. Welcome in. How are you? Uh, but yeah, like I said, I'm really excited for what the new Cyberpunk stuff is going to be. Yeah, but yeah, I will say this again though. We are in fact simulcasting to YouTube today. I'm doing an experiment with that. So doing good, arting. Lovely. Uh, remember the RoboCop on the NES? I never. Okay, well, I did have an NES as a kid. It was I didn't really play with it much. I'll be honest. The NES is a little bit before my time, and the NES that my older siblings and my parents had, and or my parents had, which I currently have, is I we only had like 5 or 6 games for it. We had Mario and Duck Hunt, the Mario and Duck Hunt combo. We had Mario Duck Hunt combo. We had Mario 3. We had the Wolverine NES game that was kind of terrible. And was there any other games? Are those the only like 3 games that I had growing up? I feel like I had at least one more. I can't remember. But yeah, I only had like I had less than like 5 NES games when I was a kid. And then I mostly grew up with a Sega Genesis, like from the age of like that was the console that I started playing video games on, but I also started playing video games at the age of 4. So when I was like 4 or 5, I was playing a Sega Genesis at my grandma's house because Grandma Vion had a Sega Genesis for when people came to visit. And even that was a little bit out of date when I was a kid. That was the first video game console I played because I was 4. But most of my gaming ended up being N64 from like 5 or 6 to however old, and then I did GameCube and PlayStation 2, and I pretty much had every single video game console every single time. So, like, I had a PlayStation and an N64. I had a PS2. I had like 10 PS2s, honestly. My family realized that they could just use video games as DVD players, and they're like, oh, and they're cheaper than an actual DVD player? Yeah, we can just put these places and we always have something to entertain the kids. So we just always had like multiple PS2s everywhere. We had like 8 of them. I I actually really appreciate that about my family. I always thought that was really funny. We kind of did it again with Xbox 360s, but they were a lot bigger. But we had an Xbox 360 in every single room. Like every single room that had a TV, we had an Xbox in it. I just always thought that was amusing also. Um but yeah, pretty much then on, but I still have the Sega Genesis. I never played SNES on the actual console. I've played a ton of SNES games later through like virtual stores and other means that I probably shouldn't say if I want Nintendo to be willing to work with me. But uh like I said, Super Nintendo wasn't really my vibe. I only had like a year or 2 with Sega Genesis, and then I had N64. Damn, you guys are old. No, don't say that. Okay, Cell is 30 flat. I am 30. I started stream when I was 28. No, not even 28. I started streaming when I was like 26, actually. Yeah, don't say I'm old. I'm not old. I didn't even like what? I'm not even like approaching like the beginning of video games. But yeah, no, I also just always had an appreciation for old video games, just even when I was a kid anyway. I grew up with PS3. That's fair. I will say, like, in hindsight, I feel like the time period I think I remember the most was probably PS2 era. Like N64, I remember it. I know that was the first video game console that I owned. Owned personally. Like They're like, here you go, Sal. Here's your first video game console, the N64, right? But I don't know how long the N64 had been out at the time. I'd have to go look it up. Like, my parents got it to me used. So, and they got it for me because I was obsessed with Pokemon from the anime. So, but yeah, I got an N64. And then pretty soon after, like within a year or two after having the N64, the GameCube came out. And then I had a GameCube. And then after a year of having the GameCube, I got given a PS2, and then suddenly my house loaded up on PS2s. And I think I ended up playing PS2 more than 360 and PS3 simply because PS2 games were so cheap at like discount stores. So I would go to like pawn shops and secondhand stores, and I loaded up on PS2 games. I have like 60, 70 PS2 games. I have a lot of PS2 games. I have a bunch of super obscure ones that nobody ever talks about. Like I said, I would just buy whatever. Then like, does the game work? Is it on PS2? Do I not have it? I'll get it. Because they were getting sold for like $1 a piece for a time, like they were DVDs. I kind of feel bad for DVDs actually, because I liked having that's something I do really like, is having like a library in my house. Here, you want an example of a game that I'm like, I don't think anyone but me has heard of, because I sat and bought a ton of secondhand PS2 games. How about Barbarians? The fighting game Barbarians for PS2. I prefer physical games. Way to be. I like having physical things. I don't like having all these digital streaming services and just put it in your gaming library. I'd much rather have a physical, actual library of games. What? Give me. Wait, what do you mean? The Barbarians game? No, not based on the Disney show. Here, I'll just pull up the game. Hold on. Barbarians. Barbarians. Dave the Barbarian. Dun, 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 dun. But they're the only ones we've got. Barbarians. Barbarians. Hold on. I almost have it. Okay. It's nice to have a disc or a game so I can sell it once I'm done, or I'm confident I'm not going to enjoy it. Yeah, like I said, I like having a physical thing. I don't know about you, but I like just having it on the games that I beat on a shelf. I like just being like, wow, look at this memory I made. Here's the game. Oh, I swore I had that locked. Why is that? Okay. So this is the game I was talking about. This is the first this game. It has nothing to do with Dave the Barbarian, but it's a fighting game. Nah, fam, I own the game. Nice. Like I said, it's an obscure game that basically no one played. So, but yeah. But yeah, like I said, I have a bunch of games like that. That was the first one I could think of personally, but I know I have more. But yeah, so the only games I still get physically are Switch games. If I could, I would if I could, I would get every single game physical. I would much rather have like bookshelves of video games that I can look at and be filled with memories. And like, even though they're a pain to like move with, because like I only ever get rid of games that I actually dislike. Like, I think the only games I've ever sold are like Call of Duty games, or occasionally I'll buy games in bulk from somebody. like on Facebook Marketplace or something, and be like, here, 40 games for $50. And I'm like, bet, buy 50, buy it. And then I'll like go sell all the Maddens. Like that's like the only thing that I'll do with games that the only time I'll ever sell games. How many games physically if it weren't for my Xbox and PC not having a disc drive? I hate that they're trying to get rid of the disc drive because as soon as you don't physically have a game, then you no longer own it. And they're already making it so that it's not even, you don't actually own it anyway, even with the physical copies. And there's a whole thing about that where people are trying to really fight back on it so that companies can't do that. But sometimes it's just a key. It's just a key that gets you online permission and you don't actually get to own it. All the Elder Scrolls games on discs. I actually got a huge bundle, so I actually have all of them on disc too. Even like the original one. I bought the like anniversary Skyrim collectors whatever, and it came with Steam passes for all of them and physical discs for every single Elder Scrolls game. It was such a cool deal. And it has an art book. Like that's the one I got. Nice. But yeah, like I said, I would much rather have physical games. Although I'll be honest, at this point, I am probably closer to 50-50. And that's just because as a streamer, it's just easier. Sadly. Like I'm not rich. I'm actually probably closer to the poor side of things. So I'm kind of poor, so I can't afford to buy physical games all that often. And so a lot of the time I will play games off of stuff like the Game Pass, like Xbox Game Pass, and like yeah, that's just sadly kind of how it's stuck being for me. Yeah, like I said, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about all this current stuff. I think it all needs to be good business practices. But yeah, like I said, as a streamer, I need to play games as they come out, or I just need access to more games, and it's way easier to just do the game passes and stuff, at least financially. Maybe someday I'll make enough money streaming or just period that I can go back to buying every single game. But well, not maybe not even every game, but every game that at least I really like, I can buy all of them physically and put them back on my shelves again. Because like I said, I miss that. I love having physical stuff. In fact, I have been working on trying to find some more bookshelves so that I can put more of my games on display, because like I said, I just like having that. If someone buys a console, they should be allowed to mod a console pairs that people modify their Switch for. Yeah, I agree. The right to mod stuff, 100%. The issue is that the big issue with that, if you want to talk the politics of it a little bit, is essentially a lot of these big game companies are more against emulation. They do not want anyone to emulate any game ever. If they do not pay for the game and it's not actively being available, then they want you to not play it so that they can sell it to you later. To them, it's all a product that they could re-release and re-release forever. But that's not how that works, because games are closer to like a book or a movie than they are to like a limited edition flavor of a soda. You know what I mean? So essentially, Nintendo's probably the worst one on this. Nintendo wants to treat all of their games, even their old ones, as if they were like a limited edition soda. They're like, it's Mountain Dew Black Label. Do you guys remember that? I heard they only sold it at colleges, but I got a couple of those. They were really, I got promotional stuff from when Mountain Dew did that. So I still have like the promotional Mountain Dew Black Label bracelet that they gave me somewhere. But Uh, Why? Where was I? Anyway, it's like they're like it's all Mountain Dew Black Label or whatever. It's only going to be released every so often when we want to bring sales back up, and it's just like with with little effort, just we already have a flavor, just bring it out again. And like I said, in reality, like it's closer to like a paperback novel. It's like once it's out there, it's just out there, and they need to get over it. Yeah, the thing is, that's the funny part about that with the emulators is the general public are fine with emulators and don't care. It's the game companies because like I said, they want that product to be on reserve. They treat it as a product and they want that to be on reserve for them to try to sell you again later when they've have market proof that you want that again. That's why they're against emulators so much is because they want to sell it to you again. Because if you already have a thing, they can't sell it to you again. They're only going to sell it to new people. They might sell it again to some people. Like I know quite a few people who will buy games that just get re-released like as is, not even like remastered or remade or just ports. In fact, actually, I have a copy of Brutal Legend on every single console it got released for. Not necessarily on purpose because I thought it was funny. Because I really like Brutal Legend and I found it on sale in multiple for every single console at one point or another. So I'm just like, cool, I have every copy of Brutal Legend available. Allowed to buy the games I want. I will usually find a way. Fortunately, they don't allow me to go back and buy a game I want. Yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem with it. Is that like people want it to be like a book or a movie where you can just look it up and you can get it most of the time. Like maybe not every single game company will be around still to be selling their old products, but like theoretically, you should be able to buy, but you should be able to look it up and buy the older games and stuff like a book or a movie if it is available at all. But the thing is that like I said, they don't want to treat it that way. Love to buy GoldenEye again. Yeah, actually, like I've seen GoldenEye around. Aren't they making a new one? And I think they remade it for Xbox 360. But funny you mentioned GoldenEye. I went back to try to play that again as with one of my siblings, and it's unplayable for me now. The controls are so bad for because it's one of the first person shooters. So the controls are awful. Like they're just not good at all. Uh so I just find that so funny. Like I could not wrap my brain around how to play GoldenEye. And I'm like, I used to do this as a kid. What am I doing? What's happening here? Apparently, by the way, did you know that that game was cut from Rare Replay? It was supposed to be in Rare Replay. Played GoldenEye when it got remade for Game Pass, and it honestly wasn't that bad. Yeah, I'm talking around with the original N64 version though. Um, I do have some memories of playing it with my older brother and being like, slaps only, final destination, or whatever that map was. It's the one with like the big platforms, and it had like vats of stuff. I don't remember what that map was called. All I know is I always wanted to play as Jaws, I think, the guy with the metal teeth. I'll be honest though, I that is like the entirety of my exposure to like James Bond. I watched a couple of James Bond movies, but I can't remember any of them or what they were, or, like which ones they were. So older games never feel the same as your first time playing them. That is true. And also, I think games have become so standardized since I actually want to say like the PS2 era. The PS2 era, like since the PS2 era, I feel like games and how they play has changed so very little. Like they are mostly in the ballpark of the same. People are like, okay, the right stick is for looking around, the left stick is for movement. You know, the triggers are for shooting. A is jump and accept. B is back. You know what I mean? So if you have games before everything got standardized, then it's going to be a little bit harder to wrap your brain around it, I think. Because like I said before that, any button could have done anything and they were still just experimenting with stuff constantly. So I think that's also part of why it does not feel the same playing old games anymore. Uh like especially, but also just generally like nostalgia. You play something and like it looks so much worse. I actually found out that a good hunk of that is because of CRTs. Those because apparently once we got flat screen televisions, like and consoles made for flat screen televisions, like apparently everything from before that was meant to look like shittier through a flat screen. So because it looked shittier on your screen, it looked better to you, basically, if that makes any sense. So like if you just play stuff on worse monitors, it will look better to you because your brain will assume it looks better and you're just looking at it at a bad screen. Your brain like covers up the badness. Isn't that crazy? Fallout New Vegas was great back in the day, but it's because my brain 404 is every time I press sprint, nothing happens. I could see that. I really love Fallout New Vegas. I'll be honest, Fallout New Vegas is the only Fallout game I liked. I didn't like 3 or 4. I didn't enjoy the original 2, but I liked New Vegas, so and I think that's odd. And I didn't dislike 3. 3 was okay. I didn't like 4 at all. So 3, it wasn't quite my cup of tea, but I appreciated it. I actively disliked 4. But the lack of sprint key is just annoying as hell. I mean, like I said, I can see it. My big thing that I always wish Fallout would just add vehicles. That's like one of my biggest things I always want with Fallout is I'm like, please just give me a single vehicle. Give me like a motorcycle. Treat it like a horse from Skyrim. You know, just um speaking of CRT, the game Duck Hunt can't be fully on other TVs besides the CRT ones because of the gun. That is interesting. The Wii version, the version on the Wii that you can play, if I remember right, they reprogrammed it to be based off of the Wiimote. So, in a certain sense, you can play it because it'll play functionally the same. It's just like redone, so it's no longer the light gun. But yeah, that is kind of crazy. You know what is another thing that I actually really liked as a kid that has been that like it's they're still around is arcades. I never actually really got to go to arcades, but I would see arcade cabinets places and I always dreamed of having arcades and going to arcades and stuff. And they've been kind of getting phased out of existence. And I think that's sad cuz like when I think about it, I'm like there's so much stuff you can do with an arcade. You know what I mean? Especially if you require peripherals like your guns or like a vehicle or another good one is VR when people can't actually pay for VR a lot of the time because that's expensive for people. You could do a bunch of cool stuff with arcade cabinets still. And actually, I I actually have been saving old computer parts as I replace them in my computer or as I change computers. Specifically with one of the ideas I have as a use for all of the old computer parts is to try to actually make my own arcade cabinet, like or maybe even multiple, for games that aren't technically arcade with maybe some mods. Like I would like planning to be like, I wonder if I can mod like a newer game into being an arcade game. Because I feel like there is something to that that is possible. And if you can do that, I think that there is a bunch of cool stuff you could do. But another thing is I always wondered like, okay, so with arcade cabinets, you can't save your progress, right? But everyone has a phone now. You could technically have arcade cabinets where you play games and it could be an arcade exclusive and you just set your phone on a pad while you play and it'll save your progress so you can continue it at another arcade cabinet. I've thought about this a bunch. I'm like, why does no arcades do that? Seagull, welcome in. How are you? Obsidian is a really good team, and the improvement in graphics between New Vegas and the dirt. For sure. What's that? But yeah, arcades, like I said, I think you could do something really cool with an arcade cabinet in modern day by utilizing the fact that phones can save your data. Even if it's like you could like there's so many things you could do. Another idea I've had is what if you take those card games like a Magic the Gathering Arena or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a mobile Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, right? What if you could actually do like the anime style of those games at an arcade cabinet where you actually have the monsters physically there and you could look across the across to your opponent and be like, haha, nice try, Yugi. I play summon skull in attack mode. And then a physical thing actually shows up instead of just the card picture on this screen. Wouldn't that be cool? Like, I feel like you could do something like that with your phones as like a bigger deal you could do. Banditos just bought a clubhouse in my neighborhood, so I went and said hi. The Banditos were quelling arcades. Yeah, a roguelike arcade, like a roguelike arcade game where you could save like the stuff you unlock on like your phone. That is an amazing idea. Like I said, I think there is a place for arcades, even if it's just I am stuck waiting for an airport, waiting at an airport, or I'm stuck waiting for a movie to start or something. Oh. Oh, I'm sorry, Seagull. Is that doesn't sound good. I hope you stay safe. My team is giving the same idea as you not too long ago. Like Dead Cells would work really well with an arcade. Yeah, I agree. Although I used to live next to a big arcade game, a big motorcycle gang. They had a bar next to an old apartment of mine. That was always kind of crazy. They always looked at me funny when I walked by. Well, team lead. Yeah, wait, Coco, do you make video games? That's so cool. There's no arcades where I live though. Yeah, there's no arcades where I live either. Oh, well, actually, there's no arcades where I lived up until recently. I now live in a place where I can go to an arcade, but then I still don't. I'm like, I'm too much of a homebody. Like, sure, I could go down to like a Round One or a bar. There's a couple barcades around, but you know, I just don't. I just work for Walmart. That's fair. But yeah, like I said, if like I actually think there is a place for arcade cabinets still, if you pick the right places to put them. And yeah, I went to was like 2 towns over from where I live. I'll be honest, I think with a motorcycle gang, if you were friendly and you were like, yo, your bike is sick, I bet they'd be like, hell yeah, it is. You know what I mean? I think as long as you don't act weird and you don't touch it, if you just are like looking and are like, "Hey, what's up, man? I just thought your bike was cool. I was just looking." I bet they'd probably be like, "Yeah, man." You know what I mean? They might even go talk to you about the bike. I kind of feel like bikers are so, as far as like groups of people, I feel like they're so like their problems are on their sleeve, and if you're not afraid of them and you're like, "Yo, your shit's awesome." I bet they'd be like, "Yeah, let me tell you about it." You know what I mean? Yo, it's a 220cc engine horsepower. I bought it from that and I customized this and this and but yeah, like I said, if you're you know, if you're pretty friendly about it and yeah, like I said, try not to bother anybody. I think my team lead had the same idea with Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, like I said, I can see in my mind's eye those kind of arcade cabinets like still existing. And especially like I said, places like laundromats or airports, bus stops, movie theaters, anything where you could show up and be stuck waiting forever. It makes a lot of sense, I think, to still have arcade cabinets around. Sure, everyone can play stuff on their phone, but wouldn't it be so much cooler to like if you could play your phone game on your on like an arcade cabinet? Or even you could just do like a supported games arcade cabinet where you could just like set your phone on like a pad on an arcade cabinet and then you could play some mobile games on the arcade That's a good idea too, actually. Since they look like they could kill you but are complete that's fair. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know enough about the group that you're specifically talking about, if I'm being honest, Seagull. But but yeah, but yeah. So anyway, I want to try to figure out how to make my own arcade cabinet. That is a project I have on the back burner and have been saving old computer parts for, because that's the funny part about computer parts is that like even when they're old, yo, Watchworm, hello. Welcome in. How are you? They're still good, but to finish my thing, when you're the thing about old computer parts is that they still work even if they're out of date. So if you give them something lower processing to do, you could theoretically turn like your old gaming PC into a pretty solid like arcade cabinet. It would be able to handle that pretty easy, I'd think. I'd be able to catch your stream. Aw, that's so sweet. Um, but yeah, wouldn't mind seeing that in VR too. I want to go up. Why do you want to talk to a dangerous biker gang, Seagull? Why? Like you're just like has to have a closer look at their big Harleys. You know, I mean, if you just want to look at the bikes, I'm sure somebody would let you do that much, but like you're acting like you just want to go hang out with the with the criminal biker gang. Beat up everyone who wanders around as reasonable criminals. Yeah, no, exactly. I actually have a ton of big projects like the arcade cabinet, though. I save stuff for things like that, and then I don't, I never make time to actually work on big projects like that. Another big project I've been working on is I really want to take, I have some shelves and some lights, and I need to get some acrylic and some magnet strips and some LED lights and stuff. And I wanted to put it all together to make a display case for all of my figurine like my figures that I have, because I have a bunch of like anime figures and action figures and video game stuff, and I wanted to make a big display case, and I had a whole idea of how I could have like acrylic glass or acrylic quote unquote glass uh like sides and front to it so that it looked like a glass like display case. And I think that'd be really cool looking, but like I said, I've mostly had to put that on the back burner just because You know what I mean? It's just like it's only recently that I started having money to potentially even consider working on projects again. So, but yeah, I might be able to start working on some cool stuff like that. Oh, all right. Good night, Z-Bite. 1 a.m. for you. That would be it's like Europe, right? Criminals wouldn't say no to pizza. I mean, yeah, sure. I'm just saying, I'd be England. It's 1 a.m. in England. It's only 6 p.m. for me. Dang. Wait, wait. I'm gonna assume that means Mac. Is it 2 a.m. for you? Right? Because Finland, it's 2 a.m. here. Oh, so wait. Interesting. So Finland is 3 a.m. Ah, dang. Like I said, to me, it's like 6 o'clock in the evening. Like it's not even that late. It's like like dinner time for me. Okay, we can move on from the criminal talk. 8:30 p.m. for me. Eat. Oh, I already ate before stream. I actually made myself pork katsudon, which is my favorite like Japanese food that's not sushi. Um, which that is a really fun thing. You kind of just make basically you take like a pork chop and then you batter in deep you like bread it and fry it. I air fry it to be healthier, and then you slice it up with when it has like the breading on the outside, and then you actually sit and will wait, and then you make a sauce out of onion, soy sauce, kombu dashi stock, uh, and then also sake and what else goes in that? I think that's it actually. Anyways, you heat all that up until the all your onions are translucent, and then you slice up green onion and put it in because that's actually like texture. You don't want that to cook all the way. And then you put your breaded pork chop in that sauce, and then you after it soaks up like the top half soaks up a little bit of the juice after a little while, then you want to break an egg or two and like beat them up like you're gonna scramble them, and then you pour it over the pork chop and in the sauce, and then you put a lid on it, and then it becomes like then it sort of like recombines the the pork together to be a one solid object again, and then you take it and whatever's left of your sauce and you put it over rice, and it is really good. But the part that I really like isn't even actually the pork chop, it's actually the sauce on the rice. That's the part that I love. Which now that I'm saying this, I'm like, why don't I just make that sauce? I could just make that sauce. You know what I mean? Like I could just make that sauce and put that on rice, and I don't actually have to actually make the pork chop part. Or I could technically not, I could cut a lot of that out. But I'm really obsessed with how that sauce tastes. Just that sauce on the rice. It's really good. Um, and the thing that you wouldn't expect is the kombu dashi stock does so much work with that. Like, I it's just you just boil seaweed. That's all it is boiled seaweed, and it provides so much more flavor than you would think. It's so good. But yeah, like I said, big fan of katsudon. Uh if I go to a Japanese food place that has entrees and that's an option, I will there's a solid chance I will get that. That or curry. I get curry a lot. Like pretty much everywhere I go, I will try curry at some point. I love curry. Curry is my favorite, but anyways, I made that today. Um so that was what Cell ate today. And probably put too much work into it and made too many dishes. but I had the stuff for it, and it's like such a just it's an every once in a while. This is a thing that will make Cell happy, kind of a thing. So, I actually think the thing that like if I'm just gonna cook for myself though, I think most of the time I probably just end up making super basic stuff. Like, most of the time I'll probably have like a slice of like meat cooked, and then like some vegetables. Good thing I already ate. It sounds yummy. Never had curry. What even is curry? Curry is a blend of spices from India that forms a thick soup. It's a very thick soup, but it's also, in a certain sense, a sauce and a seasoning. All right. Funny enough, curry powder isn't an actual thing. Curry powder is like a blend of spices. And they're actually, in India, they'd be called garam masala. But the funny part I think about curry is that I think in proper Indian curry is like my least favorite kind of curry, because I'm such a big fan of Japanese curry and Thai curry. Curry, gotcha. Yeah. Thai curry is probably my favorite. I love to get me some Penang curry with coconut milk in it, and then it's like extra, it's like spicy, but not like, it's like pleasantly so. It is, Penang curry is one of the few things that I have eaten that's like spicy, where it is entirely like like it's pleasant. You know what I mean? It's like it warms you up in a good way. You're like, oh yes, hot. It's spicy. Even when it was like too spicy for me, I still loved Thai curry. I'm like, oh god, I need to eat all of this though. Coconut curry is so good. Um, but also I'm a big fan of Japanese curry. Japanese curry tends to be a slightly sweet. Uh, like occasionally Japanese curry will put like coffee or chocolate and stuff in it, and it's served on rice. It's pretty solid too. I'm a fan. Then Indian curry tends to be a little bit more herbal tasting a lot of the time, a little more bitter. And I'm like, not bitter in like a bad way. Like I said, herbal tasting. And that's the only reason why I think it's my least favorite, but I still like Indian curry. Like a good tikka masala is still pretty solid, is pretty amazing. I highly recommend everybody to go try Thai curry specifically. I think Thai curry is an easier entry point for most people. Yeah, sort of. It's like a really thick stew. Sometimes people eat it like a soup, where they'll just have it in a bowl like soup with rice. You're supposed to have it with rice. So, if you eat it with rice, depending on how it's served to you, you either want to eat it on top of the rice like a condiment, almost like it's gravy kind of, or you want to eat it like a soup and you hold over the rice, and like you're supposed to like sit and drip into the rice as you eat it. I've seen a bunch of people would have a big bowl of curry, and then they have a smaller bowl of rice, and then you hold rice in one hand and then spoon in the other, and you just hold over your rice the whole way through, and then at the end you have curry rice. But I think I'm not a fan of that. Even if they give me like the separate bowls to do that, if I get curry, I just dump my rice into the curry. It's just easier. I don't like messing around. I'm not so fancy, so I just mix the rice and stew together. Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Just rice, curry, done. Eat it. Good. I never quite got the hold it over the rice stuff. Seriously, go for deer stew right now? I've never actually had venison outside of jerky. I've had venison jerky before, but I've never actually just eaten venison in anything else, really. I don't know, just Food for thought, I guess. Deer's really good. I can imagine. People have been eating it for a long time. Like that is like classic like medieval food. People love venison, so genuinely favorite meat. Interesting. Uh Duck for the first time and it was like, whoa, this is so I can imagine. I've had duck before. Duck is so good. Duck is amazing. Like why don't people eat duck more actually? Uh I really want to try I really want to try goose. I've heard people eat geese, and that's not really a thing that is available here most of the time. But I really enjoy it. So like, or no, I don't really enjoy it. I really want to try it. Sorry, my bad. Uh, but I really want to try goose. I've never had goose. A holiday goose. Yeah, exactly. Like that is such a traditional European thing I always hear about is just like, the roast goose, in like Dickens fairy tales stuff, you know. But yeah. Try oysters for the first time soon. I like all of their yo, that's awesome. Oh, I love seafood. I feel like I hate that it's so rare to even like seafood. But like I love like mussels and clams and stuff. I like crab and lobster. I love all that stuff now. Work for me. Yeah. I like I said, I love seafood. Seafood is so good. Genuinely scallops for me are one of the top foods, period. I love scallops. Not liking seafood. I've always lived in fishing towns. Well, if you think about it, like the entire center of America are like a, they're like a day's travel from the ocean. There's like a huge hunk of America that is like a full day of traveling. And so just I think it's like from the ocean. So I think it's just people got out of the habit of eating seafood, and freshwater seafood isn't as good most of the time. Although whenever I've had trout, it tastes very similar to salmon, and you can get salmon pretty far inland. I don't know, but like I don't know. I love seafood. Seafood's like top tier for me. I have a recipe for it's called brown sugar salmon, but it doesn't actually use that much brown sugar. I promise. And it is so good. It is like one of my favorite meals of all time. And you just get like a plank of you just get like one of the big fillets of salmon, and you use the brown sugar as a seasoning. That's why it's called brown sugar salmon. You have to like rub it down with brown sugar, but it is so good. Honey ginger salmon over here, quick and easy. Ooh, that sounds really good too. I But yeah, the way I'll make it is I'll bake salmon with brown sugar and some other spices, and it gets this like sweet but like savory good. What? I don't even know how to describe it. Anyway, like I said, salmon's one of my favorites. Big fan of salmon. I am not the biggest fan of catfish, though, I will say. I know catfish is another big one. That's one of the bigger fish for people who like live more inland. People like catfish. I've had catfish both fried and not fried, and I don't like the texture of it much. And I think I've had grouper, and grouper was gross. So I can't say I recommend grouper for anybody. But I actually did sushi chef training at one point, and was a sushi chef for a little over a summer. And making sushi is really fun. Like I really like there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into how sushi is made. And like sushi is really fun. There's a lot of fish that I like as sushi that I don't like cooked too. And I find that interesting. But you can actually have like freshwater fish as sushi. They just have to be cooked. So like theoretically, that's the thing that I think is funny about American sushi culture versus Japanese sushi culture. In American sushi or in Japanese sushi culture, if you go somewhere in Japan and they don't have the type of fish that you are cooking, instead, but they have other fish, you would make sushi out of that fish. You would like, oh, we can't catch salmon in these waters, but we can catch trout. Then you would come up with a way to have trout sushi. But in America, instead, we're like, let's pay to import the sushi fish that we like, and then let's cover up their flavors as much as we can with tons of stuff. Like American sushi, it's good, but like it's not. It like is entirely antithetical to the point of sushi. Yes, Sai, I am in fact streaming on both YouTube and Twitch. We are doing an experiment of simulcasting on both. So if you are watching me, you can watch me on YouTube, you can watch me on Twitch. Today we are just trying this out and seeing if I like doing it. I will say, and I've said this before, YouTube is probably going to get slightly less attention than Twitch, just because it's a little bit less. It's a little bit clunkier to like actually like manage the chats. So, but part of the idea is also I just want to see if more people, just spread out my wings, simulcast, see if people find me through YouTube if I go live on YouTube. You know what I mean? It's an experiment. Plus, it's pretty easy to do now that I know how to do it. So, nice. I know, right? I am so glad Twitch made it so that you were able to actually do that now. Because, like, for the longest time, that was like a thing that you were just not allowed to do on Twitch. If you streamed on YouTube, you could not simulcast at all. It was stream on YouTube or stream on Twitch. I'm actually shocked that the big VTubers, like Hololive, do not do like mandatory simulcasting now. It was one thing when they were on YouTube because YouTube's more popular in Japan, and that was just they set that as their default. But now that you can do both, the fact that they're not doing both is like crazy to me. They're just leaving like money on the table. Like literally, they could just start casting their they could literally just start simulcasting on Twitch and just put up a pinned notification saying we will not be directly monitoring this chat, and then it's just like, all right, well, deal with it, I guess. You know what I mean? And people just have to deal with it. Like people would be that like they would still get like thousands of views. It just don't make sense to me. But I also said earlier I would have also simulcasted onto TikTok, but because I also have I have a decent sized audience on TikTok. But apparently with TikTok you need 1,000 followers to go live on TikTok at all. So it's just not worth it, I guess. So yeah. And while I do have a Kick, I don't like Kick. I mostly have that to reserve the name, if I'm being honest. Haven't figured out that over there yet. I just post normally on TikTok. Yeah, same. So I post on TikTok, but like I said, apparently you need 1,000 followers to even get access to being able to go live and live stream over there. So it's a pain. I have 600 followers to go over on TikTok before we can experiment with simulcasting there too. But oh well. But yeah, made some good progress on TikTok. I know, right? I need to start. I need to record more videos. I've been kind of slacking off, if I'm being honest. So for a while, I was recording a ton of videos. I would sit down and I would batch record like 20 videos at a time. And then I would edit them and post them on TikTok. And I would just batch record me just talking about random stuff. Occasionally I would do memes. But and it was entirely just so that it was entirely just because I thought, okay, just posting my thoughts like that, those do well on TikTok anyway. So while I normally like, I wanted it to be more clips based, if I'm just trying to grow an audience on TikTok and promote myself, it might be better to go full personality based and not try to entice people in with gaming clips. You know what I mean? Because like I know those don't do well on TikTok. So just talk about something for a quick minute, and it has been working. So yeah, but I need to get back on doing it because I gained like 200 followers in like a month doing that, just talking into a camera for like a minute or two at a time. But like I said, I've been lazy and I haven't been able to get myself to actually sit down and record stuff. I've had my schedule change, my like life schedule change a lot in recent weeks, and it's just been hard for me to actually like set time aside. In fact, if you look at my schedule on the Discord, I did give myself a day off on Saturday. That is one of the things I wanted to do with that day off is sit down and actually record the TikToks so that they can be coming out. Post a bunch of art stuff over there, and that's pretty much it. And that's totally fair. Do you do art? I need to check out if you do check it out if you do art. I love art. I need to do more art actually. I've been so I have had it as a like a goal for myself. I want to do the PewDiePie challenge where you draw something every day for a year. But I want to use it to learn digital art because I want to be able to draw myself my own like concept art for stuff before I send it off to like another artist. And I think it'd be way nicer if I could do that well. But my art tablet's kind of buggered. It's all brokey, and I don't know how to get it working better. Uh Somebody was telling me I need to go buy a new pen, and it's like a whole thing. So I might need to go get a new pen because I don't know what happened to my old pen and blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada. But yeah, so I might need a new art tablet. And that's the sad part is that like I barely use that art tablet. Actually, that's not 100% true. I used it to make my old model, which was a Vroid. I actually hand drew all of my textures on my old model. So I guess I did use it for something, but working on a mini model for my PNG tuber earlier. Yo, that's awesome. Yeah, you should do it. Yeah. Like I said, that was like a big idea I had. So I've started doing these just chatting streams like as a part of my day. So I'll start my day off with like an hour or so of just chatting before we even consider switching to a game. Because like I've seen a lot of big VTubers do this, and that's why I wanted to try it. Just see if maybe it's a good way to get people to like come in and like you know, kind of filter in, but also it's a I don't know, it just seemed like a good way to like build people up because a lot of people like to sit and talk too. Um but yeah, I thought like I could do the art thing while I do the just chatting bit. So we could just sit and chat about something and I could just draw like fan art of a friend or something and just draw something for the first like hour of stream while I try to learn how to be able to do digital art. But yeah, I like I said, my art tablet is blah, blah. So um but yeah, no, I'm pretty good at art, I think, by as far as like pen and paper though goes. Like I used to draw back when I made back when I made my video game. I would draw rough draft designs for characters for when I was working at a video game company or when I had my own video game company that I was trying to start. Celvion Art Challenge arc. Yeah, right. um, but yeah, no, I was drawing like I was drawing the concept art. It was always considered rough draft concept art because I would just draw like I'm like something like this. Feel free to reimagine or whatever. It was always the plan when I gave was going to give it to another artist, but I needed to for like writing. I needed to have some concepts in my head. So and also I had a lot of free time at the time, so it was like I would draw characters who were going to be in the games we were working on, and then I would sort of place them, and sometimes that was like a whole thing. And I thought I was pretty decent. I was at least good enough at art that people could know what I'm trying to go for. I would say so. Yeah, art. But like I said, I haven't been doing much art lately, and I definitely never digital art always like messed with my brain. Trying to think in multiple layers was like that was like the most difficult part for me. Although some part of me is like, oh, you could draw like the art skeleton and stuff underneath and not have to erase. So that's something. You could just delete that layer at the end after you've drawn over it. And I'm like, that, like, I can kind of get my mind around that too. But also, I've never been able to draw in color and have it look in a way that doesn't bother me. Every time I've tried to draw in color, it's like, ugh, in my opinion. It's always like too bright, and I can never get it to look right for myself. So I basically never ever draw in color. I uh also we might be having some we, uh we might be having some new projects coming out soon that I'm really excited for. I know I was talking about news already before, but we might be uh there is a project that I've had in the back burner for a while that we will actually have all the funding for figured out really soon. So I'm gonna pull the trigger on that, and we'll have a project that has been in the wings forever finally happening. So, like I said, I'm really looking forward to that. Um, boy. Um. Also, so we are also. I need to another big thing that I'm going to be working on soon. I need to go ahead and talk to some people about Celvion because we have not done a Celvion since Key was on, and I don't even know how long ago that was. Like, give me like 2 seconds. Channel. When was Key on? Oh yeah, we haven't had a single Celvion in like over a month, which like that's not too terribly bad, but it's still been a while. And I think that was actually posted late. I think technically the key episode was like a month prior to that too, like a little bit longer. But I kind of am like, I need to either finish the season. We need to either finish the season and take an actual break from them, or I need to get them going again. Because if we finish if we call the end of the season, then I'm gonna have to go get a new set made, because that's the big thing I wanted. Is I wanted to get a new set, and I was gonna end the season with me being the guest. So I was gonna have Syl is offered to do this, so I'm gonna have Syl interview me, like as if it was Syl of a night instead. So, but I was hoping for at least 12 episodes before I was a guest on my own show. So, yeah. So maybe when we're at 9, so I think we need about 3 more soon. It would have been, and I should have worked on this before, because it would have been so funny to do that for my birthday. It's the Cell episode of Sullivanite. uh, but yeah, and also after the first season, I was gonna be open to repeat guests if people wanted to come back on. Because in repeat guests it's gonna be less of an interview. It's gonna be more just hanging out, talk show, late night stuff. Yo, what's up, Mexicador? Cadoro? Uh, what's up, Mex? Mex? Would Mex be a good short for that? What's that? How you doing? But yeah, I, yeah, we need to get some other of these shows. Mex or Dro? I don't care. Fair. I'll go with Mex. I like Mex. Um, but yeah, I had a bunch of big ideas for shows that we were working on for a while that I kind of put on the back burner, that I kind of want to start revisiting here pretty soon. Because I think the only of my big like event ideas that I've done in recent memory is the has been the Celvion Nights, and also the tarot card stream where we learned tarot. Although that one was that I don't know how I feel about how that one turned out. Like, I had a fun time doing it, but I feel like maybe I needed to have a better setup for it. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Cause yeah, like I look back on it, I'm like, I think like I feel like if that one didn't perform very well, and like obviously how something performs doesn't matter, especially if I had fun. But part of me is like, man, if I do something like that again, I think there's a bunch of ways I could do it better. You know what I mean? That's more where what I mean by like when I say like it could have gone better. Um, okay. Uh, let's do that. All right. But not much. Was working on my 85, just put a cam and a new amp in it. Got sprayed by oil when dropping an oil pan. But rather than that, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. You're 85. I'm gonna guess from everything else that is a car. I I'm not the most familiar with cars, but I've actually been getting more into cars lately. Mostly because of James and Mia being super into cars, and just talking to them has gotten me looking at cars more. And once I started actually like looking at cars, I started actually like getting cars more. I used to be like car face blind. And I'd just be like, is it vaguely car shaped? That is a car. Is it van shaped? That is a van. Is it a truck? It's a truck. That's the end of my car knowledge. Unless it was very noticeably different, like a muscle car or a Lamborghini. Lamborghinis always look weird. Listen, a G body Monte Carlo SS, but needs a new engine. Neat. I drive. Well, I probably shouldn't actually dox the actual car I drive. I drive a really beat down Cadillac. When I drive, it is beaten up and probably won't last me the rest of the decade. I actually had to go learn how to rebuild the engine. It was terrible, but 'cause I had to do that because I actually broke it and I didn't have the money to actually go get it refixed. So sorry, I was finishing off my drink. Um, but yeah, I've been getting more into cars lately just because of talking to people who are into cars. But I cannot say for I cannot say necessarily that I'm like a car person. I'm just starting to become more familiar with them. Um, Someone at my work drives the same Cadillac that Snoop Dogg got for the Fortnite collab, like the 80 or like the 60s Cadillac or whatever it is. Someone is just driving around that at like my job, and I always think that's super cool. It's like dark purple. I'm like, does Snoop Dogg live here? Like, because it's like I said, it is if you play the Fortnite, it is the exact same car that Snoop Dogg came with in Fortnite. It's a Crystal 300 bought and rebuilt the engine. It was a little wreck titled dude wrapped around a tree. Nice. That's awesome. I I always want like if I when I do look at cars, I always want weird cars. I don't want like a normal car. Like my current dream car is a city car. I here hold on. I'll pull you guys up a picture what a city car is. Uh it's what the My from Cyberpunk was based off of. City car. I don't know why I want this so bad. It is like the dumbest car ever. But we're gonna run. All right. Thank you so much, Worm. I really appreciate it. It was nice to see you. I'm glad you stopped by. Enjoy your dinner. Um, but yeah, this is a city car. They are tiny. They are 2 seats. Bye bye. But yeah, they have 2 seats and then they have a trunk in the front and then the engine fits entirely behind the back seats. I don't know why, but these are so goofy and I love them. Like, I want one. Do you know how you get into this car? The entire top half of the car lifts up. If you tap the brake, it would flip, right? It's great. I love them. Uh, and like, I understand that they're dumb, but I want one. But yeah, I really want a city car. That's the big car that I really want. Get it? Because it's a tiny, tiny car. Um, the funny part is I don't even know if I would personally fit in that car. I'm not even that big. Oh, I don't think I'm that big, but I don't know if I would actually fit in that car. Was there another car I really wanted? There was a Brazilian car I really liked the look of. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, the Takari Sport. That's what the name of it was. I thought that car looked really cool. Anyway, I'm not gonna bother with that one. That one's not as goofy as the city car. But yeah, I also have a friend who has a 5x4 big black Chevy engine and a PT Cruiser sitting on sticks. It's also convertible. That's kind of cool. Okay, actually, I will say for sure though, the my dream car, my dream car, if I was to have any car, I want the Outrun car. I want the Ferrari Testarossa, I believe, in like candy red. Testarossa Spider. Here, I'll pull up a picture of this one. It's the car from the old Outrun arcade cabinets, but like, haha, we brought up arcades again. But this thing is so cool. I just like the look of this car so much. Like, look at that car. That is such a good car. It's got the little pop-up lights in the front. So it's so 80s too. I love it. I want this car. It is a convertible. I don't know. It's got that like peak 80s look. I love it. But I also just love Outrun the arcade game. So Delegated, hello. Welcome in. How are you? But yeah, like I said, that is my dream car. And then as far as goofy cars, I really want my little city car. Those are the two cars I want. That'll be my garage. I'll have the city car in the tiny corner, and then I'll have the Ferrari Testarossa for when I want to impress people. Although I'll be honest, I would try to impress people with the city car too, just the little tiny vroom. I'd be like, "Isn't this the coolest thing ever?" And everyone would just be like, "What the hell is that?" The thing gets up and goes, but my '05 Tahoe is a bit faster. It's supercharger made all nice. But yeah, no, I don't know cars very well, if I'm being honest. I've been getting more into it, but that is where I'm at with cars. Hi. But yeah, uh, yeah. Like I said, I just never had them as like a primary interest even growing up. Like, you know what I mean? Even as a kid, I was never like a car person. Like, I think I went through a brief period where I wanted Hot Wheels cars, and I got some Hot Wheels cars. But I think even when I was always more obsessed with the tracks. I didn't care so much about the cars. You know, I was like way more like, I want the cool tracks where the giant T-Rex bites the car in midair. Or, you know, I want to send cars up Snake Mountain to see if they can defeat the Cobra or whatever. All those old Hot Wheel like super goofy. Wait, for that Hot Wheels game that came out not that long ago, I like the other year, did they have courses like that with like the volcanoes and the giant sharks? And I never looked into that game. If that game had that stuff, I would be like kind of ecstatic and I almost want to go play it. Did any of you guys play that game? That like Hot Wheels tracks game. Cars. My job is a mechanic, but I did try to become a cop. But the writing part's not it. I could see that. I have some friends who were really like I said, I have some friends who were really into cars, but that was never like a primary interest for me. I've always been a creative person. I've always been more into like, let's do creative stuff. Let's do art. Let's write a movie, storybook, whatever, that kind of thing. That was always more my vibe. So Damn. Like I just looked over at the YouTube. The YouTube stream is like 5 minutes late. Like it's way behind, but uh that's so interesting. Yeah, the delay is pretty bad. I don't know how to fix that, if I'm being honest. I've always been down to get my hands dirty. That's fair. Um, like I said, I'm not opposed to like a like hands-on like messy things or anything like that. I'm not like that kind of homebody because I know some homebodies who are like they don't want to get dirty, that kind of stuff. But like I'll do hobbies that can mess your hands up and stuff before. I've had hobbies like that. Stuff like that. I'm just not like that active with a lot of that kind of stuff. I still work on projects like that sometimes. I've been wanting to get into I've always wanted to do cosplay. That's a big one for me. Like I really wanted to get into cosplay. I've tried getting into blacksmithing before, but my parents were like super against it. Uh that'd be dope, right? Just like uh I've actually been trying to get one of my siblings into casting, where you melt like stuff down and you cast it into bars or little molds. Because my older sibling drinks energy drinks like their water. He'll be drinking like 7 or 8 a day. And I'm like, you make so many cans, like you make so many NT cans that if you started like just crushing them when you were done and melting them down, yeah, no, apparently he has since stopped. That's actually a big reason why he's didn't go for it. Is apparently I was we'll get into that in a moment, but I was like, if you just started crushing all the cans of like energy drinks and beer and whatever else you happen to drink out of a can in a day and started just saving them and filled up like a big thing of it and then melted them all down, you could make a bunch of bars of aluminum. And that would be a way for you to get money back basically out of eventually out of all of your little drinks. And he was like, "Yeah, that'd be so cool." But I quit energy drinks and all this stuff for health reasons. Like I said, as soon as I was telling him that, he was just like, "Yeah, I had to quit that a couple months ago from my doctor." And I'm like, "That, you know what? Fair. You probably should have done that before." But yeah, uh, but yeah, that's what I was trying to get him into that. That would have been cool, you know. Wonder why the delay is so bad. I think the delay is so bad because I don't have low latency on. I set it to I gave it the option like I set it to regular settings on the YouTube stream, but one of my options was low latency and I was worried it would skip over parts of the stream, but I think instead it just let it have a 5-minute delay. So drinks nothing but water and energy drinks. I mean, your brother's a state trooper who also drinks nothing but water and energy. Like I said, if you have a like drinks like that you down all the time, I actually think getting into casting them into bars is a great way to reclaim value out of it. Plus, it's cool and fun. You know what I mean? But yeah, I wanted to do that. I thought that would be really cool, but like I said, I don't live in the kind of housing that I could take up a hobby like that if I even if I wanted to. Just because I live in an apartment complex, and I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be happy about me whipping out like a propane forge into the parking lot and having that going at like 400 degrees for hours of the day. You know, I feel like they would be very unhappy with that as a thing. But yeah, But yeah, so there goes that as a hobby. It would have been really cool. You could do it in the Walmart parking lot, but then I'd have to sit in a Walmart parking lot. Like personally, if I was going to do that, I like you kind of have to sit and watch it to a certain extent to keep it from blowing up. So if I did do that, I would want to probably have it in like a big driveway or a backyard with like a concrete pad. And I'd want to be able to like sit in like my garage in the shade and play on my phone while I watch it. And a Walmart parking lot, I'd be stuck in like my hot ass car for hours, for however long it took. You know what I mean? I couldn't just have it going while I have like a barbecue or something. I don't know. The more I looked into it as a hobby, the more I'm like, this doesn't seem very practical as a hobby to have. So, but it's still a cool idea. Maybe one day I'll get the stuff to do it anyway, and just do it very rarely. Just like save up bits of metal in cans and like once a month melt it all down or something like that. I don't know. It'd be fine. Although apparently you need like a like apparently if you sell it again, you have to if you like want to sell like a pallet of metal for it to be even sellable, you have to have like a 2-ton pallet of bars, and it's just like, oh no. I wonder how easy it would be to actually start a foundry that way. If you just like have a make a deal with your local junkyard and just start like breaking everything in it down. Start building up pallets and just like that's a good way to start a recycling company, I think. How much metal is selling for right now? I don't know. I mean, I could look it up. How much is a pallet of aluminum? Of aluminum bars. Is a pallet of aluminum bars $600? That's not right. Wait, yeah, that's 100% not right. Oh, no, $4,300 for a pallet of aluminum ingots. That is 30 pounds. No, that's each bar being 30 pounds. So 30 pounds, 356 30-pound bars. That's 2,000 pounds of aluminum ingots. So is 4,300. 2,000 pounds. So hold on. Let's see here. 4,000 aluminum ingots, each being 30 pounds. Or wait, hold on. Did I do the? Am I doing this math right? You know, I don't care. I don't care. It's math. No math happening here. Nuh-uh. No math allowed. Um, but yeah, like yeah, metal is worth stuff. Um, but yeah, no, that's a hobby I thought about picking up. I thought that'd be really fun. Um, uh, what? Um, Never know what you're gonna get with us in a Selvi chatting stream. Might get to hear the entire story of Kingdom Hearts from memory, or learn how much aluminum is trading for. I know, right? Like we get zany around here. uh, you know, it's something I actually have genuinely thought about. Like, I wonder. I have genuinely thought about like how much like just trying to run like a trading company would be where you just traded random things as commodities. Like how much could I like how like if I was to sell like pine cones as like a decoration and I had to go like harvest pine cones from the woods or something to try to make money, like how much would I have to gather for it to be like a profit? Like I think about stuff like that all the time. Like just full on mercantile. I think it's because I used to play a bunch of games where there was just like tons of commodities like that everywhere. And stuff like Animal Crossing, you know, where it's just like, look at all the things you can sell and blah blah blah. Like I used to think about stuff like that a lot. I still probably do, actually. But yeah. Uh but yeah, to toss back to the arcade idea, I like I said, I have been saving up like PC parts from my old computers specifically to with the idea of potentially making my own custom arcade cabinet. Hi Mercury, hello. Welcome in. How are you? Um, but yeah, what? How much are wood chips selling for? Yeah, no, like I said, a lot of that stuff is just like it's just like there's a lot of like junk things like that that I'm just like how much could you make if you like just really wanted to like start a business of selling something random like that? Especially something that's like random and kind of free. Like could you actually make a business out of it? I feel like if you were to sell something like say pine cones, I feel like you would need to also probably be selling like Christmas trees or something like that in addition. Or you could be selling pine trees as food because apparently you can actually humans can actually properly digest pine tree sawdust. I learned about that apparently the entirety of a pine of that pine tree that you can eat the needles of because there's multiple pine trees humans can digest the needles of. If you can digest the needles, apparently you can digest the entire tree. And pine trees are one of the only trees that are like that, where you can just eat the wood, but it has to be the non-poisonous kind. And apparently, because of that, it is used as a filler in a lot of our like foods made by big companies. Did you know powdered parmesan is like it's like more than half pine tree sawdust? Like if you get the powdered parmesan anywhere, like, huh? Like I don't know how I feel about that. You know? Like I don't know how to feel about that. Just people out here feeding me whoops, didn't mean to push that button. People just out here feeding people pine tree sawdust. I think I might eat pine tree for dinner. Yeah. But like apparently like there is an actual formula for how much tree like how much sawdust to flour you can mix in before people can notice. So apparently like a lot of it big industrial baking, they'll just put sawdust in their bread and people won't notice if it's under a certain percentage so they can save weight on flour and other like more expensive ingredients because sawdust is basically free. Like it's a whole thing. uh yeah, it's interesting. Actually, have you guys seen that guy who is he's making ice cream, the wood flavored ice cream? Because he's like, yeah, if you do this, this, and this, if you smoke ice cream and you can like flavor it by boiling wood chips and stuff. And it's like the same thing that they do for alcohol, but he's doing it for ice cream. And it's so interesting to me because I'm like, I want to know what oak flavored ice cream is. Because he like the way he described it made it sound awesome. Like I actually want it. Saw that. Yo. It's weird the stuff that people like. It's crazy to think that there's just like so much food stuff that like people like ignore or don't do. Don't sound right for ice cream. I would try it, but don't sound right. I know, right? If I saw it though, I would get it. But I'm also that type of person. Like when I found out that they made like macaroni and cheese flavored ice cream, or what's the other one that was like really weird? Everyone was like flipping out over. Uh, what was it? I can't remember. When they made all these other like, there's a bunch of like weird, gross flavors of ice cream that came out forever ago. A lot of people were like, "Oh my god, ew," and I'm like, I'd buy it. I need to know what that tastes like now. I'm that person. I'm the reason things like that exist because I'd be like, I have to know. I have to know. It's why I actually have the breakfast cup noodle in my pantry. I've been meaning to eat it. I wanted to eat it on stream, but then it scares me a little bit, but I want to try it. Although it's going to go, I don't know how good freeze dried breakfast is in a cup, but I probably need to eat that soon because it's probably going to go bad before too long at the rate it's going. You know what I mean? And man, I don't want to eat expired breakfast ramen. Like that does not sound pleasant. But yeah, so I guess we'll have to put that down as a thing to do soon. Maybe it'd be better if I had more than one flavor of weird ramen to try, and we could just do like a whole thing of it and make a whole, maybe not a whole stream, but I don't know. I watched somebody who did a full tier list of Pop Tart, like ate every single Pop Tarts flavor that they could get their hands on and put them in a tier list. And I'm like, that was a whole stream that they did. And I'm like, I could maybe like doing something like that sounds really fun to me. I've actually Monster Energy drink ramen. Let's see you shrimp colors. Well, like what's all the flavors of cup noodle right now? Like cup noodle flavors? I know they get really weird ones. Okay, so they got their stir fry in teriyaki beef, sweet chili, Korean barbecue, garlic fried chicken, teriyaki chicken, fiery Korean chicken. Skip the packagey ones. Original seafood curry, chicken, beef, shrimp, cup noodle rice meals, whatever. Hot and spicy chicken, hot and spicy shrimp, hot and spicy beef, flaming hot. Sesame shrimp. Oh, go just skip through these basicy ones. Dill pickle. Dill pickle is their current weird flavor of ramen. So I guess I could go get the dill pickle one. God, I just don't think I like pickles enough for that. Oh. Oh no. It's actually like pickle colored too. Ugh. Anyway. And I like pickles. That's the funny part. I'm actually a big fan of pickles. I make pickles. Like, I actually will make pickles from scratch. I'm a big fan of pickles. Hold on, wait. Let's try Amazon. Amazon cup noodle limited edition. What are my options for limited edition cup noodles on Amazon? We've got nothing. Ghost pepper. There's one. Ghost pepper, spicy chicken. Uh, that seems like that's the only option here, actually. Unless it's in a dip. Really? I like dill pickles by themselves as a snack. I don't really like them on things or in things, but I'll eat like a pickle by itself. Like that's kind of nice. Especially dill pickles. Putting a ranch packet in a jar of pickles, shake it up good. Uh, I also really love Mexican pickles with the carrots, where it's like a ton of things all put together. Like I always really like those. I used to go to I used to go to this Mexican restaurant that I really enjoyed where they had a pickle bar and they'd have like pickled carrots and uh pickled like bell peppers and other stuff and pickled onions, and it was all just in like a little bar that you could serve yourself while you waited and have as much of those pickles as long as you've ordered something. And you just go get a bunch of little cups of pickles and try all the little pickles and sit and while you wait. That place eventually got shut down by the government, the FBI, for being a front for the Mexican drug cartel. But that was my favorite restaurant. That was my favorite Mexican restaurant. I love that place. Um, my Wendy's burger had extra pickles this time. Nice. Assuming you like pickles. Um, but yeah, no. Like I said, I like pickles. What? Yeah. So, are you talking about the drug cartel Mexican restaurant? So I used to go to this. I used to go to this restaurant that I really liked. Like I said, they made really good food. I would get me like lengua tacos and enchiladas and all sorts of other good stuff there. And they had a pickle bar that had these really good pickles in them with like pickled carrots. Because I didn't realize I liked pickled carrots until I went to that restaurant. But yeah, like I said, one day the whole restaurant just got shut down because apparently the cartel was selling drugs out of it or dealing drugs out of it. The funny thing is that the more I heard about it, the more it was like, oh yeah, no, the owner was really passionate about food and restaurants, but he just had family in the cartel, and they're like, we'll pay to send you to America and run a restaurant, but you have to let us do some backdoor business out of it. And he basically was like, okay. And so they all went to jail. At least all the people who worked at the restaurant did. Which I'm like, that sucks. That was my favorite. That was my favorite. One of my favorite Mexican places. So, but yeah, like, genuinely to this day, I still sometimes will be like, man, I miss like the pickle bar or like the lengua tacos or their enchiladas were okay. The enchiladas were pretty solid. I bet I could probably get a similar quality of enchilada at another like mom and pop Mexican place though. Actually, now that I think about it, when's the last time I had enchiladas? I love enchiladas. Enchilada. I. But yeah, no. Genuinely, one of my top foods. I love enchiladas. But enchiladas are also were always like just when I was at home. My mom didn't like Mexican food much. So but she made really good enchiladas. So that was always a favorite of ours, like because it was like a special occasion thing when she would sit down and actually make enchiladas because she like made it like a special occasion thing because she didn't like it. I think that's funny that that happens so often with specifically my mom, but I don't. It might happen for other families that the food your parents like make hate like or sorry, the food that your parents dislike making ends up becoming everyone's favorite because it's a special occasion that it happens at all. Like no one cares about spaghetti night or pizza night or whatever, but enchilada night, that only happens like 2 or 3 times a year. You know what I mean? That's rare. That's like birthday stuff. Like actually like growing up I think I had steak more often than I had like enchiladas because specifically because my mom hated making enchiladas. So it's just like steak night. Steak night probably happened more often. Making me want to go to the kitchen and throw down low key even though I had a Taco Bell for dinner. I genuinely I love food. I love cooking. I love food probably too much, honestly. I I am one of the rare people who will just be like, "Man, I could just go make whatever. I could just go make food. I'll just have the craving to cook." Not being hungry, just be like, "Man, I could make this right now. I have all the stuff. I should do that." You know what I mean? And it's kind of like meal like the that's part of why I'm really glad I've been trying to get into meal prep because man, does that is it so nice for meal prep when I can just solve those cravings to cook by just doing it. You know what I mean? Because then I could just like load up a bunch of containers and be like, I had the stuff, I made it, here you go. And so like I'll just make stew or something or a lasagna and I will burn out that energy I had to do the thing, but then I don't have to actually eat it. It'll just be in my freezer for whenever I'm ready. So rarely when I was growing up, but she started making it more often after I moved out, and I swear it's just not the same recipe of my Yeah, exactly. I feel that. Oh, another funny thing. Okay, this is just a funny thing. So when I was a kid, I hated sloppy joes. I despised sloppy joes. If you know what a sloppy joe is, uh I'm sure you've heard I'm sure y'all have heard the term sloppy joe. So I always thought it was so weird that the sloppy joes from my school were completely different than the ones my mom made. I didn't like either of them, but I thought it was so weird that they were so different. And one day, while I was an adult, I brought up to one of my friends that like I don't like sloppy joes. Hold on, follow me here. I don't like sloppy joes, especially when they have beans in them, because when I was a kid, sloppy joes that my parents would make were literally ground beef in pork and beans with barbecue sauce. Like you would take a can of pork and beans and a thing of ground beef and like a couple tablespoons of barbecue sauce and you'd cook it all together and then you'd have that in a sandwich and they were like, this is a sloppy joe. And my friends were all like, no, that is not a sloppy joe at all. A sloppy joe is barbecue sauce and ground meat, or it's a pulled pork sandwich, basically. Like I've heard both. It's like a pulled pork sandwich or a pulled beef sandwich, or it is just another name for those, or it's ground meat like a burger, just like or like you make it taco style and you just kind of swim it in barbecue sauce. No one I had ever talked about had heard of putting beans in sloppy joes. So I brought it up to my mom. I'm like, why everyone's always saying that that's weird? And my mom was like, well, do you know the reason we put beans in the sloppy joe was because we were poor. And she's like, we were watering it down for you kids. That's why we couldn't afford better food. So that was our we could do this for like no money at all meal. And I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense then. So I basically lived off of beans and like the British beans and toast, basically, slightly zhuzhed up for a while when I was a kid, a bunch during some like rough months or not months, rough times when my family was like going through it, apparently. How dare you take over both my recommended on YouTube and Twitch? How dare they? So evil. Hi, Spike. But we're trying out simulcasting. uh it's a fun little experiment so far. Chili has kept me satisfied for months. I'd rather sleep for food than eat beans and sloppy joes. Yeah, I feel that. Like I said, there's no wonder I didn't like them because that's not what a sloppy joe is. No one else ate them that way. It was basically chili, the sandwich, just chili on bread. That was like my childhood sloppy joe, is just really bad chili on bread. Yeah, like I said, no wonder I didn't like it. It makes perfect sense I didn't enjoy sloppy joes when I wasn't even actually eating sloppy joes. Although to this day I still kind of I wouldn't make sloppy joes fall into that category of I I wouldn't make them myself, but if somebody else made them for me, I'd probably be happy to have it. Kind of like meatloaf. Like, I'm never going to make a meatloaf. Meatloaves do not sound appetizing to me at all. But if I went over to somebody's house and they were like, hey, would you like some dinner? I made meatloaf. I'd be like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, not saying I'm like above it or something like that. It's just, it's not the kind of food that I would ever be like, ooh, that sounds good. You know what I mean? Boy, so evil. I want some chili and cornbread, not gonna lie. Yo, I would kill for some cornbread. I love cornbread. There is a diner chain near me where most people I know go to it for breakfast, but the thing everyone sleeps on is for like their lunch and dinner menu. And their lunch and dinner menu is okay. It's not like amazing. They have an amazing breakfast menu, but the one thing that I love from this diner chain is if you eat there for lunch or dinner, they give you unlimited cornbread muffins. And they come so hot, and like you put some butter on those and they are like the best thing ever every single time. And I'm like, why is this the best cornbread I've ever had every single time? But like in like I don't even care about the food, like the food that you actually order. I care about the complimentary cornbread muffin because like, and I'm just like, man, I could just eat like 4 of these and be done. I don't even need the real meal because they make such good cornbread. Like maybe the reason the food is forgettable is because I'm so enraptured in like the dinner menu is so forgettable, is I'm just so enraptured with how good their cornbread is. Uh Black Bear Diner. It is a really good diner chain. I really like them. Plus they put like cute little bears everywhere on the outside of the building, like little statues of bears. Hey, your actual food sucks, but these garlic breadsticks, they got crack in them. I mean, yeah, kind of like that, but it's more of their food is all their food is good, but like their night food, I don't is kind of forgettable except for the cornbread. It's just like make them go file for bankruptcy. All you can eat cornbread with whatever you order. Nah, like I said, and it's a muffin. It's not even like a small like a dinner roll size thing. It's like a whole like if you buy those like muffins from like the gas station where they're like big, they're like hamburger sized cornbread muffins. It's so good. I'm like, damn. Now I'm like, man, maybe I need to go make cornbread again. I love cornbread. Have you begun the human skinning yet? No? Hey, Madam Yorktown, how are you? But yeah, no, I'm like, man, maybe I should go get cornbread. Maybe I should make corn. Well, okay, I definitely don't need to get cornbread. In fact, actually, I need to probably cut back on things like that, just empty carb food. But man, now I've sat and talked about cornbread for a minute. Now I'm like, man, I would kill for like a cornbread muffin. Hmm. Uh, but yeah, but as much as I sit and meal plan, I am so bad at meal planning healthy food. I need to work on that. I've been trying to tell myself, man, maybe I need to like actually do some more research into food. Just order bread from Red Lobster. I do love the Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster also. Those are really good. Adam, that's Necrons. Okay, actually, so funny you mentioned Warhammer. I have genuinely been thinking about trying to get into Warhammer. Uh, I've been really genuinely thinking about trying to get into Warhammer, and I can't decide whether or not I want to get into the elves or the Necrons. I don't want to do the humans. The humans are basic and everybody does the humans. So I want to pick a cooler faction. And when I read about the Necrons seem super cool and they're robots. But then also I don't vibe with the Necrons designs. They're all like goth robots. They're like spider robot, zombie robot, skeleton robot. And I'm like, can't they just be like robots? Why do they all have to like, I don't know. Like some of their theming is like kind of to me. But um but I love the design of all the stuff for the elves. So I and actually not even the Drukari, it's just the Eldari. I really wanted so I couldn't decide which one I wanted to get into if I was to get into it. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out, Max. I really appreciate it. Uh, all right. Catch you later. And thank you for the follow. I hope to see you again. um, but yeah. Uh, although I feel like if I was to get into a miniature game again, I feel like I have to. I'm already committed to Heroescape. So like, have I ranted about Heroescape to you guys yet? I love Heroescape, and that was my Warhammer. But the only reason I would want to get into Warhammer is that it's like the more popular thing and it's everywhere. Cell plans on becoming a Xeno lover. What? Well, I don't know. I think the humans suck in Warhammer. They all, yeah, no, I'd be proudly be a Xeno lover. The Xenos are like I'm against the whole like humanity is better than everybody else stuff. Like that's always been like I never vibed with that in fiction. Like that's a problem I have with Star Wars is that the aliens never get to do anything. I'm like, why even bother having aliens then? But let's see here. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up Warhammer and I'm gonna pull up Heroescape. We're gonna talk about like some of the designs. Hide bookmark bar. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Okay. Is Vong War. Humanity and Warhammer are desperately fighting for survival and losing. That is not that is not at all the impression I have received from the Warhammer fandom. To me, it seems like humanity is slowly conquering the entire galaxy and killing everybody. And the only thing that is preventing them from doing so is the fact that there is multiple like apocalyptic level like peoples running around also. Like peoples and like threats everywhere. Let's see here. Come on, Warhammer. Let me actually like I had looked up shop by faction. Xeno army. Eldari. Okay. It's questionable at times. Yeah. Okay. So, like, if you were to look at these, like, I just love the designs of like their vehicles. Like this fire prism over here, this thing right here, on the right next to me. I love the designs of. I actually love the fact that they wear these goofy looking helmets. They're kind of cool looking. I this vehicle right here, the Hemlock Wraith Fighter, this is one of the things that really got me like maybe the elves would be cool to get into. Same with the Crimson, like they're like planes, they're robots, something about them look cool to me. I just like it. And then we are already down to like the Harlequins and stuff, but like I said, their stuff looks cool. Okay. But then we could go over here to Necrons. And then, like, if you look at the Necrons, I love their story and their lore, but they're all like so goth, like not maybe not even goth. They're all so edgelord. You know what I mean? And like that's just a spider right here. Like it's just a spider. Like I like the aesthetic, but it doesn't fit me aesthetically. Like I would like this more if it was just another faction I could be into, not you know what I mean? So Mechanicus. Uh what is that? Who is that? Armies of Imperium, maybe? Adeptus Mechanicus. Uh they all look steampunk, I guess. Look at the Tau. I think Tau is the one that Novella is into. Okay, these guys also look really cool. I will say. Like a lot of their stuff looks super cool as well. I will give them this. They are a solid follow-up, I think. I think I would be into these guys just as much as the Eldari. Ever since the that is the Mechanicus. Oh, I've heard that. I've heard that whole speech. Yeah. Like I said, the tower cool. I really like the orcs, but the orcs are like the most stereotypical. Everybody's into the orcs. You know what I mean? So like if you were to look at the like their orcs are cool, but also like I don't want to be the only good guys in the whole verse. Huh. Interesting. But yeah, no, like I said, I love the orcs. The orcs are pretty solid. The other Xeno army that I actually thought about getting into was the dwarves, the Votan. I do like the aesthetic of these guys, and I've always been a fan of dwarves. But yeah, I kind of ended up deciding if I was to get into Warhammer to not go with them. Um, fungus that grows on bodies, it's super unique. Like a bed with bed bugs. Leagues of Votan, no. Yeah. Like I said, I've thought about getting into Warhammer. I'm not sure. Do they have Age of Sigmar armies on here? Yes, they do. See, they got order, death, chaos, destruction. Like what? Order, cities of Sigmar. What? I don't know anybody who plays the fantasy version of Warhammer. Like, honestly, the fact that I know so few people who are into fantasy Warhammer that like I've actually like I kind of question why they have multiple versions of fantasy Warhammer when basically I don't think anybody plays it. Any Skaven in Age of Sigmar? Probably. I think they're chaos. Skaven. Yeah, we are the rats. The rats. We are the rats. Yeah, they always seemed kind of fun. But like I said, I never really there's my rat people. Yes, yes, yes. Uh like I said, I do like them. I like the fantasy stuff, but like I said, I question why they're even like I have some questions about how Warhammer when 40K is the one that's the most popular by a lot, and like the medieval Warhammer is nowhere near as popular. It's maybe like a quarter as popular at most as Warhammer 40K. How they managed to maintain having 3 different lines of medieval Warhammer? They also have Lord of the Rings now. I think that's kind of fun. So you could do you get the Fellowship of the Ring as one group, but you can also get like the various armies. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, yeah, apparently there's like a whole like Lord of the Rings army game that they do also. Horus Heresy. Is there a specific thing you want me to look up? Oh wait, does Horus Heresy 40K? Games fantasy is super popular when it comes to individual games. Total War and Vermintide got an iron grip on their communities. True, very true. But I'm talking like the miniature game. Horus Heresy is 40K. Okay, the types of units they have as options is Emperor, War Master, Cult Mechanicum, Space Marine, Traitors, and Loyalists. But I'm not interested in like anything to do with the humans in Warhammer, really. So like what? Like the demons or the demons? Is that my only option for Horus Heresy then? I just don't want to like I said, I just think that I don't know, humans are boring a lot of the time. If you're trying to pick like what you want as your group, Titan Legion or Knights, they're all like hunchbacked dudes with knight like they're kind of cool looking, I guess. Giant robots. Huh. They're all right. I'm not like super into it if I'm being honest. Now, if I was to flip over to Heroescape, got a favorite Chaos God? No. I'll be honest, most of my knowledge of Warhammer is secondhand from other people. So look up World Eaters. I don't Traitor Space Marine World Eaters. Angaran. Uh yeah, no, this is no, a lot of the same. They're kind of cool. Big power armor dudes. Yeah. But yeah, no, if I but HeroScape recently got reach so okay, I want to talk about HeroScape. Why? Give me like 2 seconds to find a thing on HeroScape. I want to talk about it. Because HeroScape just came back. Uh shop, I guess, would be upcoming releases, maybe? Just where to start, maybe? Come on, there's like a product list on here. I've found it before. Uh, hi, game. Or, I mean, not game. Internet, help. Okay, anyway, so HeroScape, it used to be collectible, where you would buy individual releases and they'd be pre-made for you, okay? So, no, I'm in the way. So, that's so tiny. So with HeroScape, you would have let's do it this way. So this is like an expansion set. This is the Rise of the Valkyrie set. So essentially, you would buy this is like a starter set. So you would buy a book, you would buy a box of characters like this, and they'd all be painted and done up for you. And there's factions and story, and essentially everybody is getting called into a realm called Valhalla. Although it is not actually the only thing around correct about Valhalla from like Norse mythology is the Valkyrie are the people who are the Valkyrie are the people in charge of Valhalla, and Valhalla is another dimension. And Valhalla is a dimension across space and time where they are trying to bring in people who would not be missed from their universes. So warriors who are dying because they have magic and the ability to heal people, and they're taking them to this dimension to fight in a war across between a bunch of Valkyrie generals. And the Valkyrie generals are like all the like big main like factions. So, and it used to be you would buy individual units and they would be in like little kits like this, and you would get them pre-painted, right? They'd come pre-painted. They'd tell you where they are from. They have like specific realm lists. Okay. And this is all part of like a little mini multiverse thing they got going on, where the Valkyries are summoning people from across space and time to come be fight in their war for war with them. And uh anyways, now the new expansion, though, the new now that they've been revived, it is now switched from this format to the Warhammer format as of last year. So now all of your figures need to be painted, and it's all in the same sort of vibe. And there's all these like there's all these cool factions, and there's so much more stuff that they've added. But like if I was to go, but yeah, you can get them I believe you can get them either pre-painted or you can get them blank now, and you can actually save money by making them blank, and then you have to paint them yourself. And some of these units are super cool. It's all super unique and interesting. Like that one's like squid people, dragons. Uh Noted. But yeah, no, this is but this was canceled for a long time because Heroes of the Coast got rid of it for a while. Hold on. Let's see here if I can find like the symbols of the factions. Um let's go. So then you got like Jandar. These are like the pure good guys. They have knights. They even had like an animated commercial that for when they first started, but they summon like knights, and they have army men and some Vikings and a whole bunch of stuff. But there is, hold on, let me. So just like category Valkyrie generals. So here's all the factions. You got Jandar, Utgar, Vidar, Olar, Einar, Aquila, Revna. Is that all of them? Thormoon. But essentially, uh Jandar is all about like peace. He is like trying to like make everyone be, he's like the pure straight-laced good guy. Utgar is the one who is trying to conquer Valhalla. um Vidar is obsessed with order. His Vidar is obsessed with order. Ular is obsessed with nature. Aquila is obsessed with is Utgar Loki? Maybe. Aquila, I believe, is into mysteries. I can't remember what. Uh, yeah, Aquila is a Valkyrie general and a priestess of the Moon Triad. The contamination of the. Oh, yeah, no, okay. So Aquila is trying to reverse the corruption that Utgar has brought into the world, and then Einar is. Hold on. Einar is like a history nerd, basically. Einar wants to control the well springs, and the well springs are the thing that they let you summon in with. So if I remember right, Revna is, so the current factions are Jandar, Ular, Aquila, and Einar together, and Vidar is neutral, and then Utgar and Revna are allied. And then Utgar summons everything from like basically the Zerg from StarCraft. They're called Morrow, but they are like bug fungus aliens, and they are like spreading out, and they have a whole thing going on with them. But he also summons like fantasy orcs who for in this game, this universe, they're blue. They're like dark blue skinned. Uh and he summons dragons and the undead and all this stuff. Revna does, I think, mostly does undead. Like, here we go. Like Iron Lich. Yeah, see, like that's a unit for Revna. They come with little cards that tell you what they can do. But also there's a whole bunch of stuff like you're actually supposed to you like headcanon some stuff also, and there's hero units, and but yeah. But I personally, I got into this when I was really young, and I kept buying the things, and I want to get into this again now that it's become more of a, like an adult-y type thing with like the being more like Warhammer. But I had a huge Utgar army because I had like a humongous werewolf army and a humongous Morrow army. Like let's see. See, like I had a ton of these guys, these like werewolves. So like they are, yeah, like I said, they were really good. And then ton of werewolves. I had some like these are Morrow. Like I had a ton of Morrow drones and stuff. It's said it's really cool. I was super into it, and they were taking stuff from all across time and space. So there'd be fantasy stuff, there would be non-fantasy stuff. They did a whole collaboration with Dungeons and Dragons where the Forgotten Realms and Eberron were connected to the universe. So like they were summoning like Utgar was summoning like mind flayers and stuff like that. And like it was, like I said, it was just really cool. I was really into it. But uh yeah, it but that was my version of Heroescape. Or not Heroescape, of Warhammer. Let me just boy, boy, boy,
Here we
boy.
go. Welcome to Taco Bell.
Yo, Cell, thank you for the raid. Welcome, raiders. I am Cell, Android girl variety VTuber. I play lots of games. Today we're just doing some just chatting because we are doing a test with simulcasting to YouTube. Um, what? Still raid. Hi, Maddie. Um, oh. But yeah, how is Donkey Kong Bonanza, Cell? It looked really fun when I was watching you play it for a little bit earlier. Uh, but yeah, how is monkey business? Hi. Hi. But yeah, I was just talking about this game I used to play that came back called Heroescape. Uh, they just finally came back after like a decade of being canceled, of not being canceled, of being like discontinued. But they've already gotten a bunch of expansions, and I was talking about how like I kind of want to get back into it, but I don't have any I don't have any friends who are into it or anything. Game of the year contender? Yo, that's awesome. By the way, Sil, I beat Claire Obscure Expedition 33 last night. I beat it. I feel like you didn't think I was going to be able to beat it, but I did. Yeah. So yeah, took me forever, but we managed it. Whoa, I know, right? I can show you how to do this too if you want. It was actually surprisingly easy. Did skip a lot, but I'll give credit where credit deserves. Well, thank you. I don't. The funny part is that I don't really know what I skipped at this point because like I've simulcasted. Oh, okay. But yeah, I don't actually know where what I would have skipped in Claire Obscure because like I feel like when I played it, I went everywhere. There was some dungeons I didn't do, but when I went to do the side content, that everyone was like, "Go do the side content." Nobody talked or anything. It would just be like some monsters in an area, or sometimes the camera wouldn't even follow me around. And I would go and I'd wander around for a little bit, pick up some items, kill some stuff, and then be done. There are a lot of cutscenes. I didn't get any for any of the side content ever that I ever did. Mael's relationship lies. Because like every time I went into the side content, it would just be like, here's some pictos. And or like, here, fight some guys. Here's a picto as a return, as a reward. All right, bye. That was like the whole game. That was like all the side content in the game was, here, have some free pictos. You know, and that was pretty much it. Uh Pick a Xenoblade with side content? That doesn't feel correct to me. But then again, I don't really know how big Xenoblade is with side content. Pictos are the best possible. No, they weren't. I like never messed with. I didn't mess with the Pictos much at all. I didn't like that they separated Pictos and Luminas out. And I don't know. But yeah, no, I really liked Claire Obscure. Really good story. I was interested in it. I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. But yeah, I liked it. Uh yeah, 7 out of 10. Learn what happened to Painted a certain sister and side content. The side content. Okay, can I just say, if the majority of your side content doesn't give me anything that makes me want to do more side content, then like, and I never encountered side content that had any sort of story interaction whatsoever from like the first, because like I did all the side content in that first continent. If I even had like one or two where story stuff happened and like the characters would actually like talk or something, I would have kept doing the side content because it started making me feel like there was just no point. It was just giving you more pictos. And I'm like, I didn't really care about the pictos all that much. It's saved for Act 3. When I got to Act 3 was literally just go fight final boss. I don't know. You know, that's fair. But yeah, that's just what I gave it. Um, that's because you were in a rush. You visited not one floating island. Like, they didn't give me the ability to even fly until I was already in like the end game of the whole story, though. So like, explore dual relationships and get everything. Like, I get that I get that I skipped out on the relationships and that I could have sat and farmed. Like, I guess I theoretically could have sat and just farmed doing the like the relationships in the camp. I don't know. Would I have to just like go to camp constantly? Join a VC? Okay. I'll go pop into my VC. Just want to talk to him. Hello.
All right. There is a lot of misinformation you're giving right now.
But what do you mean?
Like actual genuine misinformation. Okay, so the first continent of like for Act 1, when you're doing a lot of the side content, yeah, that's more Pictos based, which by the way, in my opinion, one of the best RPG systems a game has ever
Eh.
done. Personally, like genuinely, it makes your character so super fucking overpowered. But that, I guess that's more of a personal base. It's very subjective.
I think a lot of it is just I didn't want to sit and mess with menus for too long on stream. Also, that one could have
I
been.
really don't think you just. I want to see you do an RPG on stream,
I
like
mean,
an actual RPG
I
on
did
stream.
Claire Obscure.
Like other RPGs, like you would not be able to do any Final Fantasy on stream because that is way more egregious than this game.
Can I just say I also did Cyberpunk, but can I just say with
That
Final
doesn't
Fantasy,
count. That
with
doesn't
with
count. I'm
Final
talking about an
Fantasy,
actual JRPG or like one that's a lot more like technical based. Cyberpunk is not. I mean, it is an RPG, but it's not that type of RPG. You know I'm right on that.
you know what? I will give you that. I just Max said it, and I was just translating it over, really. But
I don't even count Oblivion, Mac. That like I like those are a lot more action based. Like I'm talking about, I want Cell to sit down and play like a Final Fantasy, and I'm talking about like the JRPG Final Fantasies or
yeah,
Xenoblade Chronicles and such like that. If you found like this struggling, they're way worse.
no. The thing
From
is
like
that
all.
the like
Mhm.
the thing is that with Final Fantasy, a lot of the time with like gear, it's just equip. Like, did you find a new sword? Equip it. You know,
They don't have
basically. I
any other type of stat trees or anything like that. Period.
mean, you can ignore them.
So that's what you just did for the whole RPG system of Claire Obscure. Which, by the way, in my opinion, is a super easy system. It is very easy. But again, that's subjective. they save a lot of the side content for Act 3 because that's when they unveil the major twists of the game to where all of the story content, even side content, actually now culminates into story-based cutscenes. There is an entire story side quest that is very pivotal to the plot of the game of like understanding some things because if you've noticed there is a certain character you've never got like the finality of the story with, and that is Alicia. You know, the mask Alicia. She has an entire whole side quest that you actually have to go in and actually do a whole thing.
They
There
didn't lead
is
me towards that at all, though.
it is Miles level 7 relationship. Those relationships do give you actual quests at the end.
No, and like
Well,
the thing
most
is
of them.
that I get that there was more I could have done with the relationships. That is something that I like. I do understand that that was something that I skipped over. Yeah, and I realize that
Also
that the
The Simon side quest, the Clea side quest,
who's Simon? Who's Clea?
well, you know Clea. You have to know Clea. Literally, you
No,
played the game. You have to know Clea. Your
I,
sister,
the
Mael's sister, the one that
oh
yelled at you and berated you. She has a whole actual side quest that explains her whole thing.
Mac, I thought you said her name was Claire.
There's no one named Claire. Yes, there are side content that equates to boss, but there are actual side content that actually has cutscenes and such like that.
All right,
Simon being a major one.
can I? Well, okay,
He
can I?
doesn't have like a lot of cutscenes, but he does have like 2 cutscenes that gives you the lore of like the
All
Gamash
right, can I
and
say?
such.
Can I just say something? When
Yeah.
it came to the game, when you go like, if you did the side quest, any of the side content early, like just go into the optional areas that are just around that they don't direct you to, right?
Yeah,
They
they're like I
don't.
said, they're saved for Act 3
Yeah.
because
But
you
follow
have to
me here.
unlimit that damage cap because that damage cap holds you from actually killing things really. Like I'll be honest, that damage cap really is detrimental to you not being able to explore. But once they do, well, Act 3
Right.
is literally just you exploring. And even like once you beat the game, post game, you can go in and explore. Like you can literally load up the save and go get everything.
Actually, I did load up this. I did actually keep playing last night a little bit afterwards, and I went and found the rest of the gestrels because I'm like I know they're all in the overworld, so I just went and looked around once I had flying afterwards. But
You need to get the rest of them.
huh?
I actually I do need to get the rest. I even haven't gotten the rest of them. I have to get them. I just defeated Simon, did the Clea side quest, and
But
I got all the relationships to level 7. Especially the Minoko one is a really nice one.
I feel like if they saved all that stuff and hid it behind like the Act 3, they should have said something to
Even
imply
it's like
that
very obvious that
no, it's
like
not.
it actually does tell you right when you get out of Act 3, fly to Lumiere or explore. Actually, that's an actual pop-up.
Fly to Lumiere or explore. That's not the characters being like there's still some like mysteries about this or something. Like the
You're
story
nitpicking.
wise, they were like, hurry up and go
You're
fight
nitpicking.
Lumiere. Go to Lumiere.
You're nitpicking. There is literally the genuine thing of them saying you can fly over to Lumiere or now you can explore. When you
I
unlock the flying thing, it actually tells you either explore or go to Lumiere and fight the final boss or whatever. You're just nitpicking on
That's
the
not
wording
how
of
I
how it was.
interpreted it. I interpreted I don't even remember that saying that, to be honest. I
I
just
mean, it did say it, but anyway, like I said, we're either it's either subjective nitpicking or honestly, you were in a rush for our bet, which I'm not even gonna put on you because you did it. You proved me wrong. You did our bet,
yeah.
but you can't sit here and say the game didn't direct you because it very obviously did.
I
But
will just
you were
say
in
it
a
didn't
rush.
make me feel like there was a ton of
Yes, but
content left
again,
to do. To me,
that's
well,
subjective.
specifically, it did make me feel like I did think that there was more side content that I was skipping over and that there was more. But you know the kind of side content that I was thinking there was going to be left? Like
That's your
hold
problem,
on.
though. You keep saying thinking it's gonna be that's the one thing, and again, I'm not trying to bash you, but we've had this conversation many times before. your negative impact on games is because you perceive something, and when it turns out to not, you have a negative impact on it. And
I
that is a very huge thing you do for every game you've played.
well, like I said, I didn't think there was even gonna be story side content the way that they've portrayed the game up till that point. I thought
I've
the
told you.
yeah, you said that, and then I tried to do the side content, and then there was nothing. It was nothing burger,
How
goose
much did you do?
eggs.
How much
It
did
did
you do?
every single dungeon available to me at the time that you were like, you're missing out on all the side content. So I
Well, yeah,
stopped
when was that,
everything.
Act 1 or Act 2
It was
or?
like Act 2. I stopped everything I was doing to do every single optional area that was available to me at the time when you said that. And it was all nothing. No
It was
story
Act 1.
content.
It was Act 1 because you wouldn't have been able to do anything in Act 2 for half of the stuff because it was overleveled. Um,
But
yes, the
I
side
went to
content
areas
isn't
that were
as
too strong for
prominent
me too.
in the side content isn't as prominent in Act 1 and Act 2 because they save Act 3 for the big heavy hitters, because the story-based side content, you need to know the reveal of the twist of Act 3. If you knew that beforehand and you did previous side content beforehand, the characters are going to have dialogue that doesn't make sense unless you have side quests that are locked out story-wise. If you think about it, if they knew the twists and you do a side quest that they start talking about something that, hey, wait, you should know this now, that's why they saved it for Act 3. Because in Act 3, you know everything. They know the twists. Therefore, that's when the story side content comes up and is more prominent with cutscenes and everything. Granted, I'm not saying that there's like an extraordinary amount of cutscenes, but there are cutscenes.
Okay,
Um,
and can I will say, if at any point in time before then, I don't even need a lot of like if I don't need a lot of side story content, but if there had been any side story content at all in Act 1 or 2,
I've had one.
that there might have been some in Act 1, but I might have missed it. Um, but if there was any in Act 2 when first started like really looking for side story content, because everything said danger, so I assumed that was like come back when you're a higher level as a warning. So I never even bothered in Act 1. That's the reason why, is everything had that danger
2
ping.
and Act Three's areas are blended. So theoretically speaking, yeah, all the areas are going to be difficult because there's no technical, besides the floating islands, there's no technical like newer other areas because a lot of Act 2 blends in with Act 3. But now that you know the twist of Act 3, they open up a lot of the side story stuff.
Yes,
Again, this is
but
this is literally an argument on your presumption
no.
and what you feel.
Can I
Like
just
it is literally just a what I felt like this
can
when,
I just say though, if they had given me even like a couple side things that were like story based, like little side quests, go to a different area you didn't have to go, and then you got like a little side quest thing, just a couple of them, I feel like I would have been more like, I need to explore once I got to like Act 3 and found more stuff that way also.
Mac, well, I do agree, and I do agree with Celvion on some things in regards to them not being heavily cutscene story based in the beginning to incentivize it. There is still the relationships in Act 2 that do push a narrative aspect on things of you trying to like level them up. And they do like actually branch out afterwards. Now, yes, you could nitpick on that, and nitpicking is nitpicking, but I there is a good portion. I'm not saying it's a heavy amount, but there is a lot of context that is explained. You know, who made the Necron? Who made the Nevrons? Who made
uh
the that actually gets explained.
isn't
Who
it the
defeated the
dad?
Axon and no? Who killed the Axon in Eau Lumiere when they were talking about who killed this Axon? Oh, I don't know. That is explained. Um, who where did Alicia go? And Alicia never had like any fallback, like the painted Alicia. That actually is explained. All of that actually has side quest content. I'm not saying that it's prominent, it's gigantic, but there is and it exists, and it's nice to know the actual like there is not a single thread of thing in this game that's left like not solved. They actually close up every bit of narrative points.
Hmm.
Like I've done the side content with PokeLink. PokeLink loves this game. He went from hating this to saying it should win Game of the Year. I mean, honestly, I think it also should win Game of the Year. Um,
Hmm.
even though Death Stranding 2 is there, and while I think that's my personal Game of the Year, I think objectively Clair Obscur is the best game of this year. I think in both a um just like not just overall story based of how that game even came to light. The fact that 33 people made that because they wanted to flip off Ubisoft is hilarious.
Like I said, I don't dislike it or anything like that. I feel like maybe like I gave it a little bit lower score because like sometimes it felt a little bit incomplete in
You didn't
some
you rushed
regards.
you
And
rushed
I
a
really
lot of
just did
it.
not enjoy the parry system that much in the scheme of things. Um, a lot of the time,
Was it?
the parry system felt broken. Like
I
I would time it to where it would be like right before I'd get hit, and
I not a
it would very frequently feel like it would just ignore me.
I as somebody who has embraced the BS, it is a very thin parry timing. It is 0.15 seconds for medium difficulty and 0.3 seconds for story. And PokeLink did not like the timing, so he played it on story and he loved the game.
I will
Um,
say I played the final boss in story mode because I literally every single parry or block or dodge I tried just didn't work, and I was just tanking every hit no matter how I
I
timed it, no matter if
I
I
love
waited,
you.
and it was
Uh,
it's just I
so
was it was also 4:30 in the morning.
I will say I did sit down in VR and watched your entire thing, seeing you miss, I'm witnessing you actually miss them,
Are you seeing me
and this
push
was
the
coming from
button?
me. You panic parried a lot. There were times where you just spammed it, and like the gradient attacks where you said, "Oh, I pressed it." You have to press it like at the end of that animation to actually do it. It's always been time based. The game even said it. Even Max said it. Um, but if you do a parry or a dodge and you're still mid that animation, it doesn't matter if you follow it up like immediately, quickly on time. You screwed up by doing another animation first, which is how parry systems work. When you're doing a parry system, you can't just spam the button. You have to, like in Dark Souls, if you hit the parry button, you have to wait till the
Look, I
animation of your
never
shield dash moves. You can't just spam it and have your character twitch out. Um,
I never spammed it.
I've seen it multiple times. Me and
No,
Pokey
that's
called you
not.
out on it. We watched it. Sam can be
Don't.
right, Sam.
No,
Sam,
I'm
can you
telling
verbally
you.
tell me did Cell spam parry a couple of times?
You could really notice it during the Renoir fight, and that's why you missed a lot of those parries.
Sam's literally behind me and she watched it
Okay,
too.
now follow me here. It was not spamming like I was just rapidly pushing the button. It was I was trying to time it to when he was doing the thing.
Yeah, but you timed it. Trying
The
to sound
funny
like an
part is
asshole.
that when I
You
put it on
timed it funny like twice, like multiple times.
because I kept trying. Okay, so I will say this is my big complaint with the parry system. So you try to time it visually. Sometimes that just doesn't work because of camera angles or something. Like it's not
You
it.
can turn that off, by the way.
What?
The camera angles. Like
You know
not
what?
even a joke. In the accessibility settings, you can actually turn off the cinematic camera in the shake. This is
Oh, that would have
it's
helped
actually
me
pretty
with
cool.
at least two different bosses. Where
Yeah.
the camera angles, they had like four camera angles, and 2 out of 4 I could not time the parries at all with it. But then the other two I could do it fine, and they pissed me off.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, yeah, go to the accessibility settings. There is actually a lot of accessibility settings for
and
this game, for that game.
the one that really bothered me is when I switched to trying to go off audio cues because somebody said try the audio cues, going off the audio cues.
Sam
The
did that.
huh?
Sam was the audio cue person.
The audio cues are not always trustworthy. Sometimes it'll be audio cue, you push the parry button, but you know, it'll be like he'll charge up an attack, it'll go ding, and then it'll slowly fly over to you, and you'll be like, oh, I'm already out of the parry animation, and then I got hit. If you pushed it when the ting happens from the, you know what I mean? There was several not even several, there's quite a few enemies that was happening to me, where if I tried to follow the audio cue, it just didn't work, and I don't know, and that would like make me very frustrated.
I personally just did visual. I know that's still like a
Oh no, the visual, when I focused on doing the visuals, that's when I got better. Or when I just did it like musically, start of attack, wait, da 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 da, and then you parry, kind of like a rhythm game. That when I some attacks I could do it kind of that way, and that was a little bit also the other way I could do it, just like intrinsic sense of timing. But like I said, some attacks they would just be like you can't do visually because of camera angles, and you couldn't do audibly because of this. They like try to trick you with this sound cue. And then the gradient thing, like they literally, I swear, the gradient thing was it goes gray and then you do it, and the fact that
I
most
witnessed you time it hilariously multiple times, and PokeLink was going wild when these PokeLink was going like.
but like 80% of the time, like so much of the time, it was just if it goes gray like that, pull the trigger and you're good. It happens, and you do the gradient block. But then sometimes they will sit and hold on the gradient thing, and they do this like dumb slowdown thing that if they just didn't slow down, I would have had it. And like the thing is that like it's like if I went to punch you full force, and then I stopped like 5 inches from your face for half a second, and then punched you again, then punched you full force from there, that would throw you off a lot. You know what I mean? Like it's like
It really is just getting used to the timing, so it isn't necessarily.
I know.
I don't think it's the
Stop
game's fault
trying
at that
like
point.
can you like but I'm just saying you don't have to defend the game. I'm just saying stuff I found frustrating.
I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I
I
didn't.
am
Have
still giving the
frustrations.
game
I
7 out of
actually
10. That's a good rating. But I thank you for the hydrate, Sacco. 7 out of 10 is a solid good rating. I'd even be willing to bump it up to an 8 out of 10 if 7 out of 10 is offensive to you. But I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 game.
I personally give it a 9.5. I think story-wise, gameplay-wise, and all the other elements and side content and everything like that, personally, it's a 9.5 for me. And I do think it deserves, and it's very most likely going to be hitting that Game of the Year win if Death Stranding 2 or Ghosts of Yotei don't show up and be like, hey. But then again, like I said, it's tastes. If I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and this is something even me and Sam, even like, funny enough, Mocha was watching, and she even agreed on it.
What?
Not knowing any of it, you don't like RPGs, man.
No, I love RPGs. They are always like
You've complained more about RPGs than love RPGs. It's just something that we've just witnessed, and then not bashing you, but it's just funny.
Do I actually have to go back and just like start streaming like a Final Fantasy games? I'll do it. I'll show you how much I love like RPGs.
Okay. Final Fantasy, and you have to do a good amount of them. I'm not talking about just do 7, 8, 6. I'm talking about Type 0, 13. I'd say do some of those too. Zodiac Age. Xenoblade Chronicles. You want to do side content for Xenoblade? You think that the side content, quote unquote, for Player Obscure is quote unquote has no story to it? Play Xenoblade. Play Xenoblade. There's 300 side quests of just you doing little things.
And you know what? There's also the possibility that maybe I just, the way I approach RPGs while I stream makes me not enjoy it as much. Maybe I need to do RPGs more casually to actually fully enjoy them. That's also a possibility.
I think that you would give the game a higher score if you didn't stream it.
There's actually a solid I'm totally open to that as a possibility, that maybe if I'm not in my head about being boring and I'm actually willing to like really throw myself into
The
mechanics
amount
that
of
are messing
times
with menus forever, then because like I always hold myself back because I'm like, this is supposed to be entertaining. And if I'm sitting and messing with menus, looking at numbers change around and reading descriptions of hundreds of little tiny things, that's not entertaining.
okay, I will say two things. Yeah, you did do that a lot. What every time you pull out the Picto system, I literally kid you not, 35 seconds into you selecting a Pictos, you're just like, God, I feel like I'm boring. Like literally verbatim 35 seconds.
Yeah. So like I said,
But
if
like if that system, in my opinion, the Pictos and Lumina system, I think is really good, really straightforward, really fast to learn, and really easy to equip everything that you need. If that system you felt like is takes a long time and is egregious, I'm just surprised on other RPGs. Like I'm worried about you playing other games that are way more reedy, way more time consuming on that regard. I'm not bashing you, and you know what? If you have your points in the game, and you know what? I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you on it. That wasn't my argument on disagreeing with you on how you felt in the game. The only reason why I came in here to have any type of like I wouldn't say
no,
argument, but like
actually, no, I'm
discussion
happy to
was
have
when
a
you said that there was no story side content. I was like, no, that's just straight up false.
well, like if
Um,
it's post game, like I said, that is one thing. But I
it's
really feel
more
like
post game, but also during Act 3. You
can
could
can
literally not
I
do the.
can I
Oh,
just say I think my complaint of if they had given me just even a couple side story content, it doesn't even have to be story content. It could have just been like also hi Zaki, hi Decaf. Um but
yep,
it could have been
anything.
even
Hello, I'm
just
Sil.
it could have
How's
even
Zaki
been
look?
like just a little talky quest where characters talk a little bit, right? Like if they had
They do
just
that. They actually
no,
they do
at
a
least
little bit
not
of that.
at
Like not
least
cutscene wise. I'll agree on not cutscene wise, but there's banter back and forth for some side stuff. Gustav has one.
there's basically none in Act 2.
Let me think.
But the like I was
Well,
just
because
gonna
Act 2
say,
is reserved for and I know you're gonna say that doesn't count or whatever. Act 2 is reserved more for the relationship system. And I think that's more your quote unquote side content that you get for that. Act 1 does have Gustav centered stuff.
I
There's
will
actually a
say,
side quest that like after the Act 1 you can't finish because Gustav well yeah. But like
I will say I did go back to some of those early areas that I was like, uh-oh, too not strong enough to go here yet. And the characters would talk like Gustav was there, and there would just be empty space, and it was depressing. It was kind of funny actually. Because at least one area, everyone's just like, uh they'd just be like, what do you think about that? Empty pause. Yeah, that's what I think too. And I'm like, no.
what if they made Verso speak for Gustav?
Like I was just like that was like very clearly Gustav said something there. That was fun. That was so fucked.
Oh yeah. Yes, I forgot the lady in Sap and the blacksmith. I completely
I
forgot
don't know
about
what
that
the
mech.
lady. I do remember the blacksmith. I tried to go do the blacksmith quest, but I went there and everything one-shotted me. So I'm like, I guess I have to come back later, and then I forgot about it.
There There is side content. It is very spread out until you get to Act 3, where Act 3 culminates into you doing a lot of like story-based stuff. Again, there are a couple revelations that even me after beating the game went, "Oh shit, really?" Like I didn't actually know. Um and that's especially the stuff with Clay. I'm not going to go into that.
What's the
But
lady in
there is
Sap?
some cool. There is a bunch that you'll have to do on your own. But like my point is
Like I said, I
there is a good amount of side content that is story. There's an okay amount of side content that is story based, especially one I recommend. Just do Mael's full relationship. It literally gives you
and
the context of how Verso and Mael are. It
okay,
really goes into it. It really goes into it,
well,
and like Matt can even agree. Like that is
all right.
something that even after beating the game, do that
And
100.
I have a few other comments on that though. Like I said, I do wish that there was just a little bit more side story content. Sure, I guess I should have been more brave in Act 1. I didn't really think about that. I didn't think I was going to lose a character, to be fair. So, uh yeah. Uh but so yeah, I can see that I messed up by not being braver in Act 1. To be fair, I didn't think Act 1 was going to end where it did either, so you know what I mean?
Yep.
So but in Act 2, like I feel like just having a little bit more, I feel like that is a valid criticism, even if that just even having characters comment on some of the areas I was in might have made me want to go explore and just see people comment on their areas or something, just
Sure.
little snippets, because they don't do that much. But as far as like the relationships go, uh the fact that like half the time when I'd go back to camp they would say the same things, like I'd have to progress the story. So every time I did progress the story, I'd be able to progress relationships. And apparently, so if I had to just sit and like enter and exit camp over and over again in Act 3, that seems odd to me. There's a
Actually,
expectation.
they do have a failsafe on that. You actually don't have to leave and come back. You literally can do like 5 relationships in a row of the same character by just standing in front of them and hitting the button. After you do the cutscene, you go and do it again.
Oh,
There is
okay.
also the yeah,
So I
you don't
just
have to
have
leave the
to
camp and come back.
so I just have to so because like when
You
I
just
was in
stand
Act
them.
3 and they put you in the camp, it only let me talk to them once for all their relationships, and that was it in Act
They
3.
they
So when I
might
would have had
actually
to,
reserve the level 7s for post game, which I know is weird timing, but they might actually have reserved them.
because I was just gonna say, did I have to manually go back one more time and then talk to them every time
No, no, no.
to finish it off?
I
Because
actually now
everyone
that I
was at
think
level
about that,
5.
I
That's where I
actually do
ended.
think that I do think that you actually have to at least especially for Mael, you actually have to beat the game and like come back to do that context. Because technically when you play the game again after the save, they put you like right before the boss fight. You're not allowed to, you can't like do the boss fight again, but like they put you technically story wise right before it, and then they unlock all those other stuff, and it just gives a broader context on everything around it. So I
Okay.
will say, yeah, no, if you want to consider that post game or during I could, you know, I could consider that post game. And if you want to say that there is not too much side content on regards to Hector, theoretically, I mean there is. You can fight Simon before beating the final boss if you want to hate your life. Um,
Uh,
that guy is really hard if you don't do the Mael is broken strat. Um, I would highly recommend if you're gonna fight Simon, be like level 95 or
but
something.
but then again, like I said, I can think of but everyone just said do all the side content, and the thing is that it felt like the side content was really shallow compared to what you guys were saying. But if it's all post
It
game,
is post. Most
because
of
the
it's post
thing
game. I'll be
is
blunt.
that like I know lots of games with like broad post game, but you guys made it seem like I missed out on most of the game, when reality, when I tried, when like after you guys started pointing that out and I started trying to make sure I didn't miss anything, every single time I went somewhere it was just nothing. It was
This
all
is
nothing.
coming from us, that the side content of us beating bosses, getting little blurps and pieces of things, because they do the characters do comment on like the side thing, you know, when they talk randomly. Um, us getting like the Pictos, I feel like is rewarding to all of us. Not compared to you, because I know you said you didn't care, but like say me and Mac, like getting the little blurps and then getting like a cool Pictos at the end. That was satisfying to us. That's what we didn't want you to miss. But since you didn't, I'll be blunt, you didn't give a shit about the whole entire fighting system.
No, I
It
mean
isn't as climactic with you. It's like I said, it's very subjective. Some you don't like the system, we like the system. That's just the end all be all on that. But if you're looking for genuine like story, holy shit story side, it is. I will say most of it is post game, and especially those cutscenes that give you the overall branching lore. So yeah, no, if you wanna, if you were to sit here and say like technically they didn't really have real side story content, yeah, I'll sit here and agree with that. But like it was satisfying enough. And
that
all
is
in all,
fair.
it's just subjective. Like there are
Yeah,
games that you're gonna find that you're gonna like that you like the side content, and probably I won't. You know, it
because
really is just a personal thing.
and also like I've also found that sometimes with games also that maybe in the moment, especially if I ended up being frustrated, I might also put it on a lower pedestal until I think about it later and let it sink in more.
Like PokeLink, when he beat Silent Hill 2, he's like, it was like a 6 or 7. Later on, like he sat and analyzed it. I think he gave it like a 9.
Yeah,
The
no,
9.5.
exactly. Like sometimes when you're like going through the thing, it doesn't feel as good because all that frustration is fresh in your mind, and you don't you don't quite it like hides some of the appreciation for things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like me with Silent Hill Downpour. I played that game, I hated it, but I actually sat and realized, man, Silent Hill Downpour wasn't as bad as I gave it credit for.
Because like a good example is Silent Hill 3. I really like just since we're doing Silent Hill.
Give me Silent 4.
Like I really didn't like Silent Hill 3 while I played it because I'm like, God, this is like the worst
Oh,
one.
you didn't like? Oh yeah, you didn't like 3. I forgot you didn't like 3. The like almost second best one.
Yeah, but the thing is that after I got to 4, I still don't like 4. 4, I still am like, this was stupid. The whole thing
I
was
think 4 is
stupid.
under. I think 4 is underrated, but it is one of those games that you really like.
Is it bad?
And again, it's a
No, but
huge negative. It's a huge negative where you have to say that playing the game the second time is so much better than the first. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna sit here and justify that. But I will say, actually knowing the game and then going through it, Silent Hill 4 is actually a pretty fun time. But you have to know the game because going in blind, it sucks kind of a lot with a lot of things because there are a lot of mechanics. I will be blunt, don't explain it as well as it should. Yeah, again, it's a PS2 era game. Some PS2 and before, there are a lot of times where games don't explain themselves as much.
yeah,
But
Julian
like,
Tiny Head.
oh yeah, did you do Julian Tiny Head?
Yeah,
Love that guy.
who's Julian Tiny Head again?
He was, remember he fought the gauntlet of 4 guys, and the last one was like Julian Tiny Head.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, no, he was the easiest one.
He had a pretty good telling parry. But yeah, I'm just gonna sign should be Julian Tiny Head. Was it 2 tries like so?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it took me 2 tries to get Julian Tiny Head, but that's because I was still getting used to the system. Um, you know what? There is a game that I actually do want to sit here and see you beat.
uh-huh.
I don't think it's hard. I actually think that if you go and sit through this game, that you're going to sit here and realize, wow, I actually kind of like it, and it's not as bad as some people say, like in difficulty.
Okay.
I would love to see you play Dark Souls 1. Just 1. 1.
Sadly, I only own Dark Souls 2
Why?
because I got
Why
it
do
out
you
of a
hate
bargain
yourself?
bin for $4.
Wait, it's not. Wait, I think you told me this. You don't own Scholar of the First Sin, right? Which is Dark Souls 2's upgraded version, which actually is worse than the original.
Yeah, I believe so. I believe it's just vanilla Dark Souls 2.
That's actually worth more. A lot of people like that version more
Oh, well,
because the
cool.
the Scholar of the First Sin actually makes things harder, and in the sense of like they spam a lot of enemies in just random areas. They fuck you over by making them very ganky.
But
Um,
yeah, no, I'd be interested in trying the Dark Souls games, especially after you
I like
guys
Dark Souls 2.
emphasized that they were easier than Elden Ring. Then I'm like, oh, if Elden
Decaf,
Ring
I wanna.
is the hardest one, then oh well, one of the hardest ones, then I can probably do it.
It's the hardest one if you don't know how to build. Also, Decaf, I do say I do actually like Dark Souls 2. I do think it is the not the best one to play through if you're not into Souls games. It is ones that it's one that you can appreciate after you've played Souls games for a while.
Uh,
Um, I think the hardest, I'll be honest, I think the hardest Souls game from Software is Sekiro. I actually couldn't play that game, but I have to go back and play it because I lost a bet and I have to do that on stream. I think my favorite is Dark Souls 1. I like Dark Souls 3 a lot. I love Bloodborne's great, except for Orphan of Kos. I hate that guy. That guy sucks. Orphan of Kos sucks. But Dark Souls 1 is genuinely like I actually went through it and I did a strength build and realized, wow, this is a lot easier than I thought. And especially if you build right. If you build right, like you break the game. Again, that's why I said about Clair Obscure. You can break the game in Clair Obscure. And in all honesty, when I was seeing you do the final fights and such like that, I actually thought you were doing really well with damage wise and stuff like that.
Oh, thank
And
you.
there were some times you parried pretty fucking well that even I was like, fuck. You parried better than PokeLink. Which is saying a lot because he is a parry guy and he hated the parry. He hated the parry timing. That you actually beat the game that you have to do the parry, except for the final boss. But you know what? The fact that you even beat the Paintress with the parry system on the normal difficulty, that actually impressed me.
Well,
Like I did it on normal too, and that shit. Like there were times where I'm like I could not fucking parry like at all.
like I can lock in and be good at I feel like sometimes I make it seem like I'm not good at games, but I feel like I can lock in and be good at games.
Yeah. I just wanted to sit here and just talk about that. I'm not coming here to antagonize you.
Oh,
If
no,
you didn't
you're
like the
totally
game on
fine.
certain aspects, that's perfectly
In
fine.
fact, I actually am glad that you came and we had a discussion. We're having a discussion about it. I actually really appreciate that, and I think it's better to work through your thoughts on something if you can like sit and like back and forth it a little bit like this.
if
Because
you,
like I didn't like dislike the parry system. Sometimes the parry system felt bullshit to me, but
it's very thin. It's very thin.
because to me it was because the signals for when you were supposed to parry to me all felt like they were too early or too late for when you're actually supposed to do it. And and this is me just trying to read the signals I feel like the game is giving me.
The
And
official Claire Obscure Twitter account has stated dodge first to master like the enemies because every enemy does their moves differently. And once you get the dodge down, because dodge actually gives you a bigger window to actually like dodge it, then you go into parry.
yeah, I know, but I'm not a
That's
bitch.
that's what they. Yeah, and actually funny enough, they followed up with tweet as you know what, just keep trying to parry and die. They
Yeah,
actually
no,
followed up with it.
I did. I that's what I did. I'm just like I'd rather just die and I'd rather take that damage out of them if I could. Except for sometimes some of the weapon like especially in the paintress and the final boss, there was a couple times where I'm like I can't do this, I'm not learning this, just dodge. You know what I mean? Like
Great thing
I
is
keep
that they only
trying
have
and it
like
doesn't work out,
four
so
4 or 5 moves, luckily. Like most of the enemies only have like 4 or 5 moves. So like once you master those and you get them down, you can get the timings of that. They don't have like 75 different moves that are like, oh man, I gotta learn every single thing. No. They only have like 4 or 5 moves.
uh
What's it called? You actually did it quicker than Sam, which is the funny part. Although I will say you did switch it to story mode, so that give you a little bit of advantage on that. But I think you did the Patriots faster than I think.
yeah, and like I said, the thing is the big like I don't know if you were actually
Maybe
stayed up and
that's
watched
kinda
the
hard.
part where I actually fought the final Renoir, but
I
I
randomly woke up in the middle of the night and I heard the okay, this is funny. I passed out with my phone on your stream because I was like, I gotta see this when you were like getting through the paintress, right? And I laid down, and then all of a sudden, I opened my eyes, waking up, going, I hear, oh, da 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 da. And I just see, I just see Renoir. I'm like, oh shit.
but like legitimately I had like when I actually did it, I'm like I am ashamed to do this, but I'm like there's not enough left of the game to do a whole other stream of and like beat the game. There is, and I was like I don't want to have a stream that's like 30 minutes of me just fighting one boss and then being done with the game, right?
I highly
I mean,
recommend
I could have done
going
side
forward.
content, and I might do some side content on my free time.
I highly recommend I highly recommend doing the side content either on your own with friends, or if you want to stream it on your Discord specifically to alleviate the stress on being in front of an audience, do that, because I do recommend some of the side stuff. Except for Simon, if unless you hate your life. But
But
do the Mael stuff, do the Clea. I think you can do the Clea stuff. The Clea stuff isn't too bad. Especially with the if you kind of try to make Mael slightly broken. But I will say that if you want to kill Simon, you will have to lock in, learn the Picto system, and go through, because without the Picto system, you can't be Simon unless you want to master the hardest parrying moves you will ever see in your life.
But yeah, I was just gonna say at the end when I dropped it to story mode, I was like, it's 4 a.m. I I have already like fought him forever, and there's not enough left of the game to do a full stream of again. You know what I mean? So I was just like, I'm just story mode. Let's get through it. Uh, and that's why I did that. For the record, you know the funniest part about story mode is
they came back and fought him and beat him, and you know what?
the funny thing about story mode is it made that you know how it's like it feels like all the timings like they're trying to signal me to time it too were off a lot of the time. Apparently that's the beginning of the window or the end of the window every single time for story mode. And so if I parry because it opened the window up more, every single time when I parried in the signals that I thought the game was giving me, it just worked in story mode. So my final run of Renoir, I didn't get hit at all until Act 3, the Phase 3 of the final boss. Like, he just didn't hit me because I actually had the timing correct for finally, because it didn't feel the timing wasn't off anymore.
Maybe if you played the game on story mode difficulty, that you would have probably had a more enjoyable time, like Pokélink.
Yeah, that's
With the game, with the fight
Max
system.
suggested that. Well, yeah,
Because the game, it doesn't make the enemies like you still can die. You could still like a bunch of things can still happen. The story mode difficulty literally only affects, if I'm correct, it literally only affects the parry window. I think that's the only thing. Okay, story mode difficulty, Expedition 33. What changes? Okay, it says increase parry and dodge windows. It does reduce incoming damage. Okay, it does do that. In addition of optional challenge modifiers in Act 3 onward. There are damage modifiers if you want to change it, but you don't have to. But it does reduce incoming damage a bit, but it also increases the parry windows.
Also affects how much damage you take. Yeah, actually, that sounds about right too. With how the final boss went for me, he went from like 1 or 2 shotting me to doing like like an eighth of my health every time. So
Yeah, I wish there was a way to, on medium difficulty, have story mode parry time window, but still have like the damage of you taking it in medium.
honestly, yeah, if I could have just changed the parry window, that would have been fine for me. Because like I really genuinely every time whenever I was complaining, I'm like, that was it. It was when I timed it perfectly to the parry window, like the parry timing that I thought it was trying to tell me to use every single time. That's when I'd get really frustrated because I'm like, when am I supposed to do it? Because like it'd be like ding, and then it's like now you're getting hit. Like that much of a pause sometimes, and it'd just be like, why did you loud ding me?
Ding.
But yeah, no, another another good example of a game that like I really enjoyed that I feel like might not be as good on stream because I wouldn't do some of the side stuff because it would be I would find it to be boring on stream is actually Mass Effect, because I loved reading all of like the codexes and like or getting them read to me in some cases. And if I was to do that on stream, I just wouldn't do that because I don't feel like anybody would be interested in me just sitting and listening to an encyclopedia of a fictional universe.
Is that the reason why they joined VTubing streams? Is that you're reading you're coming into a fictional person's stream to talk about their lore, and then play games with it.
Yeah. I'd lurk for this. But that's like the kind of thing where I'm like, I just wouldn't do it because I'd be like, I don't feel like that's entertaining enough for a stream.
I think a lot of people, I think what a lot of people don't realize is when it comes to streaming, you don't have to be Mr. Entertaining Pants the entire time that you're doing it. Granted, yeah, there shouldn't be long dead air, but like having down moments where you're like doing a couple of things and such like that, especially as long as you're at least having like a conversation and such, that's what makes up like a majority of most streams, if I'm being honest. Um, they a good viewer comes in for your personality. A bad viewer comes in just for the game and see the specific moments. I'll be completely blunt and honest. If you're the type of viewer that joins in, and I've said this on, if you're the type of viewer that joins in specifically for the game and like just the specific moments to see someone's reaction on a thing, I'm not the biggest fan of that. A good viewer is the people that sit down and actually like try to conversate with the streamer as well as like genuinely try to like engage themselves in the stream itself.
I think regular
And
lurkers are just as
and
valid too.
lurkers, no, regular lurkers are valid too because they're still engaging in it in the sense of like they're still engrossing while watching on the side. I'm specifically talking about the people that will join in. Oh, hey, wait, go do this thing. Yeah, that's awesome. Disappear. Or or the people that come in, oh man, you're playing Cyberpunk? Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, you're gonna play this? Bye.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the biggest. I don't know. I can't get if I'm not an avid viewer when it comes to things. I'm a streamer at heart. But the people that I do view, I go for the personality of the people than
I feel
the
it.
game and the quote unquote let's be real and honest here. The showmanship of them trying to make the stream entertaining sometimes pushes it. Sometimes I actually like to get to know the real person.
I mean, that's fair. Like for me, like I don't try to be like showmanship the whole time, but it's just like I
Yeah,
kind of
no.
just
I'm
I
saying,
feel
but there are
like
people that are literally just like crazy 24/7 the entire stream, and they're like, God, those fucking YouTube videos and those YouTube streams of people that are absolutely the most. Hi guys, 5 likes and we'll be able to do that. That type of person. I can't be on that stream. I can't.
I will
Oh
say
my god, guys, that's insane.
I
Those
will say though,
can't.
Leon, if they are playing a character, it depends on the character because I know a couple of VTubers who play a character, but that character is just like a wacky voice and way of talking, and otherwise it's like it's pretty casual, and they can do like so it's not like playing a character isn't necessarily bad. It's how well you do the character. And like
Yeah, it's
yeah.
that's why on my streams I try to just be normal. I don't like to play up this whole like gigantic thing. It does bother. There was a period of time where I tried to push my personality, and it doesn't click well with my brain.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Oh my god! Remember the Vtuber arc? Oh
oh, yes.
yeah,
You
yeah,
have
yeah. No,
you have so
yeah,
many
yeah.
clips of that. Like when I
Yeah,
was
we're
your
not gonna talk
when I
about
was
that.
briefly your
Oh,
editor and I had to go through all your clips, we're not going to go into detail. I'm just like there was so many. So many.
I flirted and seduced chat like 300 times per stream during that arc. I don't like to look back on that time.
There is some
I
sound
thought that was
bites from
me trying
there
to
that
be
I think
entertaining.
would be so funny though to just have resurfaced though.
Okay, what name me one soundbite.
How about the Asian grandmas make me go awooga?
I was forced to say that. I was forced. That was a redeem. That was a redeem. Okay? That was not my own volition.
Yeah, but you did say it, so Just I love the idea of that, just like making that a sound alert and then going to your stream and just being like playing that, and you're just like, guys, I didn't say that me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Da, 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 da. It wasn't me.
It's just something about that is so funny to me. There are
right.
some other ones, but
Give me one more because I do have to go because I actually specifically timed my Wingstop order to be done at a specific time, and I only have like 3 minutes left until I have to drive.
I don't have another one off the top of my head like preloaded. I'm just saying I know there were some other ones that were funny, but
You can come up with it. You can do it. You can do it. I know you can. Come on. You can do it.
oh wait, how about you were rating like stores, like retail stores, and you're like, Dick's. I like Dick's. Dick's are good.
That
Dick's
was
is
my
good.
12th stream I've ever done. Okay, all right. That wasn't even
Dick's
a
Sporting
Vtuber arc.
Goods.
That was the 12th ever stream I've done with a person. I don't even remember who it was. Like, it's so long ago that I actually forgot who I streamed with that day. I don't remember them. And it hurts that I don't remember them. But
Oh. But I actually have to start
a
wrapping
tier
up.
list of stores.
I do
Wow.
have to
Don't
wrap
wow
up
me, dude. I've been streaming for almost 5 years and I've met too many people.
Yeah. I mean,
It gets to a point where you start forgetting and it hurts. It's not like I don't want to forget. It's not like I'm purposely trying to forget.
I've been streaming for just as long, Sil, and I remember everyone who I ever met through streaming.
You don't collab with people.
Did
I'm gonna fight you.
I do too. I have at
Yeah,
least
who?
9 collabs with evidence that I did them.
9. I've had like 50.
That was the number of Sullivan Night episodes, for the record. But I also
Yeah,
have
okay,
all of my
like-
streams with you and the other person.
Just me. I'm pretty sure chat fucking is tired of me.
And that other person. And then I played through all of Raft with Luton and The Forest with Happy.
It's like playing Raft with a wall.
Oh, and I used to play I used to
Sorry.
do a weekly board game night with Rosie for a little while.
Poor
Or
Luton.
Luton.
I love Luton. I love Luton. But I have to tease Luton every now and then. But like regardless, my point is yeah.
And then there was the time I
think you already
accidentally
got my point.
collabed with Fire Bun Bun, and I didn't realize she was on stream, and it was like a whole kind of awkward, actually. I remember that
Anyway,
now.
I am gonna start heading.
Yeah, no worries. I have to start wrapping up stream too anyway. I have to.
All right. So you're giving it a 9.5 out of 10. Got it. All right. Love you guys.
No, actually,
everybody on
I'm
stream.
going to drop Claire Obscure with its final rating at 8 out of 10. I will hop it up one more point.
I'll take an 8. I still think it's too low, but you know what? I'll respect it. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. I love you guys, and see you all on the next show.
Bye, Sil.
I hope you guys have a cell of a time.
But yeah, I also have to start wrapping up stream, sadly. I have to start getting ready for work, so Sil said that thing. Yeah. But yeah, we are going to raid. We're gonna find somebody to raid real quick. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Let's see here. You know what? We said his name, and he appears. We're gonna raid Luton. Say his name, and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching the show. I hope you guys enjoyed us doing simulcasting. For anybody who actually popped over into the YouTube chat, if you enjoyed the show and you would like to be up to date on all things Cell, we have a Discord. You can keep up to date on all of our stuff. I do socials. You can check out my socials. I post somewhat regularly on TikTok, and now I've been porting everything that can be ported over to YouTube as well. We have a sponsorship with Advanced GG. You can use code Celvion10 at checkout to get 10% off. I also get 10% of that, a 10% commission. So that helps me out. We have our throne. If you would like to give me something or help me produce more content, I put a lot of content stuff on my throne in addition to just random stuff. So if you want to help fund a project, we also have a merch store and a Patreon if you'd like to support me that way. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you guys again real soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.